Now, when did you write up this agreement?
7/30/01.
And what happened? Signed this agreement that she would let her use your 1991 Toyota Tercel and keep it as collateral for $600 loan. You say the loan never came about?
No, the loan never came about.
So, what happened next?
Well, a couple of months went by. We had talked about it a little bit. The situation was good for her at that point because the car that she had been driving, she sold because it was unsafe. She did help me watch my kids, and it was a safe car for her to be able to drive around in. I did have another vehicle at the time.
Where had you gotten this car from?
My mother gave me this car.
When?
Back in 1995.
And you had another car?
At the time that my sister was using mine, yes.
What kind of car did you have?
1996 Camaro.
So what happened a year later?
Well, we had had a few discussions about the car. She was perfectly aware of the situation, that the car was to be used by her, not owned by her. She knew.
Don't tell me what she knew.
Okay, well, as far as my understanding, she knew.
Just don't tell me what she knew.
In February of the following year, I told her that my Camaro is going to have to go. I'm filing bankruptcy. Well, something happened to the Camaro prior to them repoing it on the bankruptcy anyway, but either way, it was going to go. I told her I have to have the vehicle back. We discussed being able to work out terms of sharing the vehicle so that neither one of us would be without a car.
Let me ask you this question, Ms. Cantway. There came a time when you signed over the pink slip to the car to your sister.
Yeah.
When was that?
I think that was probably about a month later, maybe.
A month later when? A month later in?
From the time that we signed the agreement.
So at the end of August?
Yes.
Now, could you explain to me why you signed over the pink slip to your sister?
Because at the time, I did not have a driver's license. And in order to insure the vehicle, it was extremely expensive. The insurance
What do you mean
company,
you didn't have a driver's license? You told me that you had a...
Yeah, I had a car, but that doesn't mean I drove it.
You told me that you had another car that you were driving.
I didn't drive it. I had another car.
Why weren't you driving it?
I didn't have a license.
Why not?
I made a mistake. Something I had to pay for. Has nothing to do with the situation of why I don't have my Tercel now.
If it has anything to do with drinking, it has to do with the situation, because your sister says part of the problem was you're drinking, driving at the same time, and that the altercation that you had that resulted in you say you getting assaulted had to do with her trying to protect you and your children. So what I'm asking you is, you said you'd made a mistake that had anything to do with a DUI that you received.
Yes, it did have to do with a DUI.
Okay. So at the time that you gave her the pink slip for the car, that allowed her to put the car in her name.
For insurance purposes.
No. No. That's prima facie evidence of a gift. If you turn over the pink slip, it says that you are now the owner of the car.
I thought I was getting a loan.
But you didn't get the loan.
I didn't get a loan. I gave her time to give me the money. She's supposedly getting a settlement. I needed the money to pay my attorney. She never got a settlement. I never got any money. So I was without my vehicle and without a loan.
So are you telling me, but for the fact that this transaction never took place, you would have sold her your car for $600?
No, collateral.
Well, let us say that she never gave you the money.
Which never happened.
You never took your collateral back because you had already
I tried.
Right.
I tried.
Okay, now let's move on. Let's move on to this assault that you allege.
July 4th, my sister, I knew, was going to the Baptist church with my mother for the fireworks show, so I called and said that I was going to come and use the car in order to take my children to the fireworks. I received a phone call back that I am not allowed to use the car unless I ask nicely. So I drove over to the house to find out what was wrong, what was going on. We ended up getting into an argument about the agreement, about the car. She grabbed her keys, grabbed her purse, and went down the stairs to get into the vehicle. I sat in the passenger seat, and I turned it off. I said, you're going to...
No, just a minute. She ran downstairs, and you followed her.
I walked downstairs, followed her, yes.
Go ahead.
I turned off the ignition. As I did that, she reached over, grabbed my hand, scratched up my hand right here. I threw the keys out the window as kind of just a response to being grabbed. She started to claw at me. I threw up my hands, grabbed her wrists, and asked her to stop. What are you doing, is what I said.
Okay, Miss Tyler, I'll hear you.
When we did the agreement, I was the one that did that. I said, Serena, I want to give you something for the car. She said, look, I'll sign over the pink slip. I really don't want the money. But I went ahead and did that anyway.
No, that's not what happened, Miss Tyler. Just pay careful attention to me. That's not what happened. Not unless you can show me that the pink slip to the car was signed over on July 30th.
This was signed over on September the 14th.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So it wasn't signed over on July 30th. Well, let's get your story together.
Okay. So anyway.
Now let's start from the beginning so that you can hopefully get your story together properly. Your best defense is the truth. I want you to understand that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
she got really belligerent with me and said something about my son who was brutally murdered 5 years ago. And she started punching on me, and then she threw the keys out the window.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Serena Catway says she used her car as collateral for a loan from her sister, Suzanne Tyler. Serena says the loan never happened and Suzanne won't return the car. Serena also claims Suzanne assaulted her.
You signed this piece of paper.
Right.
You signed it.
Right.
This piece of paper says you're getting this car as collateral towards a loan for $600 in which I will repay her at $25 a month. That's what this says.
Oh, that is not the one. I don't have a copy of that.
Really? Oh, show this
No,
to her. I'm
I don't.
sorry.
I don't,
Show that to
Your
her,
Honor.
please. Do you have that?
This is not the one, Serena.
Oh, wait, do you have...
No, I don't have a copy of this.
No, not... Do you have a copy of any agreement that you
No,
signed?
no,
Okay, but you never signed that?
no.
Good. Can I have it, please?
That is the agreement, Your Honor.
Okay. I
There
don't
is
know
no
that
other
at all.
agreement.
I don't know that at all. Go ahead.
So on September the 14th, my sister signed over the title of the car.
Tell me about the conversation that you had
I
with her.
did tell her I did want to give her some money for the car. This was before she signed this over. I said, I don't feel right about it. But she said, don't worry about it. Mom got the car for me, and it's like a family heirloom. I'm going to pass it down to you.
That's not true.
Okay. Can I see the pink slip?
I've
Can I
never
see
called the
title?
car a family heirloom.
Go ahead.
So then after this, I was always driving her kids around because she had 2 DUIs. So I was doing that for her. And I think it was a few months after that, Serena had mentioned that she was behind on her Camaro payments. And so it was not too long after that that she totaled the Camaro. And
I didn't total the Camaro.
Yes, you did, Serena.
Ms. Tyler, just talk to me.
She
Don't
totaled the
interrupt me.
Camaro.
Sorry.
She didn't have any insurance. The car was going to be repossessed. So she hid the car in the garage for 3 weeks. And she went down and she got an insurance company to insure the car. When her boyfriend got back from Spain, they went and they told the insurance company that he was the one that was driving it, so she
Your
wouldn't
Honor.
get in trouble because she didn't have a license. So then
I was
she
filing
made
bankruptcy. I'm sorry, but I was going to lose the car. I did not wreck it.
Go ahead.
Ma'am, okay. Then after this, it was like a few weeks after that, her and her girlfriend came up to the house.
You're talking about the incident in July?
No,
July
ma'am.
4th?
She's talking.
This was in the spring of 2002 when she wrecked the Camaro.
Okay, she wrecked the Camaro.
Right,
Go
and
ahead.
it was like 2 weeks after that, I was sitting on the front porch, and her and her friend came over, and a friend of hers was outside talking to me, and Serena went in the house, and she said, you need to give the car back to Serena. And I said, what are you talking about?
And what did you do to her?
And I said,
Miss
what are you...
Cantway,
I'm sorry,
I don't
ma'am.
want to hear you.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
I said, I says, what are you talking about? And she says, you need to give that car back to Serena. And I says, this is an agreement between me and Serena. It's really none of your business. And I asked her to leave. And then she got really belligerent with me and said something about my son who was brutally murdered 5 years ago. So I called the cops and asked her to please leave.
Who said that to you, the friend?
Yeah, her
Okay,
friend of
a
hers.
friend. Keep going.
So then I asked, Serena was there, and I came out. I said, Serena, what is... I called the cops because I said, you got to get this woman off my property.
Okay.
So then I told Serena, I says, what is the deal with the car?
Don't interrupt her.
I'm not
She
interrupting.
didn't
I was raising
interrupt.
my hand.
No. She didn't interrupt you while you were testifying.
Yes.
When she did once, I told her to be quiet, and she waited. That's what I'm telling you. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes.
I don't have to say it again. It irritates me to be irritated.
I'm sorry to irritate you.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Serena Catway says she used her car as collateral for a loan from her sister, Suzanne Tyler. Serena says the loan never happened and Suzanne won't return the car. Serena also claims Suzanne assaulted her.
Keep going.
So then I confronted Serena because she was there, and I said, what is the deal with the car? What is this about this contract that you're talking about? And she says, well, I was using that against Scott in case he wanted to get his hands on the car. And I'm going, what are you talking about? And I want the car back after you get your settlement. And I'm thinking, and I told Serena, I says, well, Serena, I don't
What
know why you...
settlement, Ms. Tyler, is she talking about?
Yeah, because I have a workman's comp settlement. I broke my neck, and I'm still recovering from
Would
that.
you tell me, please, what happened on the 4th of July of 2002?
Yes, Serena wanted to borrow the car, and she had borrowed the car 5 days in a row because I know she was out of vehicle, and I was trying to do the nice thing for her.
And you had your driver's license back at that time?
Oh, yes, she did get it back, yeah. So, but during that week, she had, I know this for a fact, because she left the house and she drove the car twice drunk, and she let somebody else drive the car. So, and during that evening, on the 3rd, I was sitting on the porch with family members. They were concerned. They said, you're going to have to not let Serena drive the car. So I said, well, I know this is going to be a problem. So the next day when she asked me to use the car, I said, honey, I got errands to run. I said, I'll try to arrange a ride for you, and we'll try to see what we can work out. Well, then she came over shortly after our conversation on the phone, extremely upset with me, yelling and screaming. I said, Serena, quit yelling at me. And then she brought up the contract, the $600. She kept it up, and I said, I've got to get away from here. So I grabbed my keys, and I began to go down the stairs. She followed me. She got in the car. She grabbed the keys. We were like this, and she started punching on me, and then she threw the keys out the window. And then when I waited, I had a second set of keys. When she went back upstairs, I got in the car, rolled up the windows, and I took off, and I went to my cousin's house. And I left town. I left town the following week because I got tired of the abuse, and I moved to Napa.
Miss Cantway, I'm certainly hearing two diverse stories.
I see that, yeah.
My job is made very easy by the fact that neither of you dispute the fact that you signed over the pink slip to this car, not conditionally, not as a lien holder, but for all purposes to your sister. If you had signed it over to her and been a lien holder for $600, because that was the condition of giving it to her, that she would pay you $600 or give you $600, there would have been a lien on the car for $600.
Yeah.
But you did not. You signed it over so that she is now the owner of that car.
Yep.
So your lawsuit with regard to the return of the car is dismissed. With regard to the assault, since I find that this was her car and you had absolutely no right to get into her car, to pull the keys out of the ignition, to stop the car.
Your Honor.
I'm speaking. She says it's because you had either let someone else drive the car or
nobody else
family
drove the
I'm
car.
speaking, or people told her that you were driving the car while you were intoxicated. And if it's her car in her name, she is liable for anything that happens to the car. In any event, you had no right to get into the car, pull the ignition keys out, toss them out, and if she scratched your hand at the time that you were struggling over the car keys, she has a right to do that.
Yes.
Because it's her car.
I had driven the car drunk, Your Honor.
No, it doesn't make any difference.
I took the dog to the vet to be put down, and I picked his daughter up from school.
Let's say you weren't driving the car drunk. You still have absolutely no right to get into her car and touch her property, and she has the right to use whatever force is necessary to get your hands off the ignition keys. And if she scratched your hand while she was doing it, she scratched your hand. That's it. I mean, it's certainly very sad
she neglected to mention to you what she did to the other girl who was supposedly so belligerent at her house. The other girl mentioned, why don't you give the vehicle back to Serena? It is her car. Do you know what she did to that girl? She grabbed her by the bottom of her neck and scratched her all the way up to her ears.
Now, if this person that you brought to the house said something to her about her child who was murdered in the course
they said nothing about that.
You were inside. You were inside. You were not outside.
I was outside.
No, I don't. Miss Cantway,
the porch
I don't
right
believe
there.
a whole lot of what you're telling me. What I do believe is that you gave your sister your car because you had another car. You had no use to have for this second car. You had a newer car.
I wish
the
I was
newer.
that
I'm
rich.
speaking. The newer car got repossessed. You said, I want my car back. She said, I'm not giving you your car back. She said, but I'll share it with you. I'll share it with you. You use it when you need it, and I'll use it when I need it. And then you had an argument.
No.
And you want a court to resolve it as a family dispute. I don't intend to do that. Case is dismissed. That's all.
Party's no excuse. You're going to step out.
She's got a lot of animosity to me, and it really hurts my feelings, and I wish it didn't have to come to this.
I just found out the blood's not thicker than water.
She was demanding and wanted it back, and it wasn't just going to work out that way for her this time.
According to her, I'm the spoiled one that gets her way all the time. Well, obviously not, huh?
Maybe somewhere down the road we can settle it.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Panzeri versus Maria. Step forward, please.
25-year-old dental hygienist Gina Panzieri is suing her former friend, 23-year-old student Heather Merrier, for her share of a vacation in Daytona Beach.
Ms. Panzieri, you and the defendant have been good friends, decided to take a vacation together. According to your complaint, one of you purchased the tickets, the airline tickets, and the other one reimbursed for half. And then the agreement was that the defendant would pay you for half the hotel. You booked that on your credit card. You went away, she didn't pay, you want her half.
Correct.
Now, you had an agreement to pay half the hotel.
Yes.
You went away with her.
Yes.
You didn't pay half the hotel.
No.
You have a defense.
Yes.
Okay. How much is half the hotel?
Her half of the hotel is $1,075.44.
Okay. And can I see the documentation for that, please?
Absolutely.
Okay. I want to let you know that I'm looking at the bill. The bill indicates that the only thing on here was the room, the tax, room charge, so there were no other additional charges on this bill. You understand that?
Yes.
It's clear you did not pay her your half.
Yes.
Tell me very quickly what your defense is.
Well, we arrived in Daytona, and the first 3 days were fine, and every day after that was awful. She was an absolute nightmare. She acted like my mother. We went down there to have
So you
a
didn't
good
have a
time.
good time together?
No, not at all.
And so what did you do?
I didn't stay in the hotel half the time.
You stayed where?
I stayed with friends that I met down there.
Fine. Well, you stayed in their hotel?
Yep.
Did you pay them?
Nope.
Good. So you have to pay her. Understand?
Yep.
Sworn in judge, you may be seated, sir. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Lee, according to your complaint, you and the defendant had a long-distance relationship. You lived several hours away from each other, and you were in this relationship for a couple of years.
2 years. That's correct.
That's a couple.
Yes.
And you indicate in your complaint that while you were together, you would bring some of your property over there because you spent so much time there.
Exactly.
The relationship terminated, and you want your property back.
Correct.
The defendant says that you did bring some things to his house, and the things that you brought to his house were gifts. In addition to being gifts, he talks about money being taken off for vandalism and other nonsense. So we'll get to it in a minute. When did you start this relationship?
Mid-August of 1999.
And where were you living?
Portland, Oregon.
And where was the defendant living?
Tukwila, Washington.
How far is that?
180 miles.
And how often would you visit him?
Every single weekend.
So far, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when did you start to bring property to the house?
I wanted him to learn how to go to karaoke bars with me, and he wasn't comfortable with that. So I said, well, why don't I buy a karaoke machine and some CDGs? It's a very expensive system and microphones, and he already had a stereo system. And since we spent so much time there, that's the first time I bought that.
So you brought it to the house?
Yes, ma'am.
So that's one of the items that you want back, your karaoke system.
Correct.
What else did you bring there?
DVD player.
What would you bring a DVD
Shh.
player?
Don't s-
Sorry, Your Honor.
A DVD player. Tell me
Correct.
about that. Tell me how that
Well,
came about.
Adam wanted to have a system downstairs. He bought a 65-inch TV downstairs with a DVD player. But then I said, well, I like to be upstairs because it's cold downstairs. And he says, well, we don't have a DVD player upstairs. So I said, all right, I'll go buy one.
Okay.
Just
so,
like that.
So you went and you bought one.
At Costco. I have the receipt.
And you brought it to the house.
I did, because I'm always there. Sorry. Sorry. I'm nervous.
Don't be silly. Be
sorry.
nervous, but don't be silly.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Good. Okay, so you brought the DVD player over there so that you could use it upstairs because you were cold downstairs.
Yes, correct.
What else?
I have a list. Do you want me to show it to you?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, it's organized by level of importance.
No.
I'm sorry.
Listen to
I'm
me.
sorry.
Listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what things are yours.
They're
Give
all
me
mine.
back a list.
Everything on this list is mine.
Go, read it.
Okay, the CDG collection,
Slowly.
$1,500, a CDG player, $300, a DVD player, $245, a set of microphone cables and stand, $150, office furniture at Costco, $399.
She's been paid for these
Oh,
things.
shh.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Now let's get to the office furniture.
Yes?
What kind of office furniture?
It's a set because he had an office room. I didn't really like his office set, so I said, let's just go get a new one because I really liked him. I thought we were going to spend...
Strike that. Listen to me.
Okay.
Strike that off your list. If you say, you have a set, I really don't like it, I'm going to get a new set.
No, he wanted a new set.
Or he wanted a new set, and you said, I'll go get it. Go ahead. What's next?
Domestic stuff from Costco. We furnished his kitchen, and I furnished his bedroom set. comforters, pillows, yada, yada, yada. And I know you don't really. And then bathroom stuff. And then I also got him a tent for his car.
A what?
A tent for his car, which he traded in.
I'm curious, how did the tent come about?
He said that he can't drive a car without a tent.
Shh, please.
So he wanted one, so I got it for him.
Good, that's nice. That's a gift. Next.
And all the other furniture that I bought was like a dry erase board, I had 5 wall frames that I bought at an auction.
Well, what'd you bring him there for?
Because I moved out of my condo and I didn't have room for it, and he said he'll hold it for me.
Oh, really? Those things I want to hear about. What was that he said he would hold for you?
Well, because I didn't have room in my...
Tell me what it was that he said he would hold.
It's like a dry erase board. Well,
a what?
The dry erase board. It's like a large one that you can like write on. It's mahogany. It's really pretty.
I don't understand what that is.
Did you say dry erase board?
It's a dry erase board with mahogany sides. You pull it out, and you can it's a dry erase.
On it.
You write on it.
You have that,
Put a
sir?
dry mark.
Yes, I do. But I gave her money for that, Your Honor.
He decided how much he wanted to pay me.
She paid $25 for it.
Just a second. He gave you money for it?
He says he did, but he did not give me money for it. He just says, I gave you money, and he decides what it's for. That's the way he does things. Okay.
Let's deal with 2 items.
All right, we'll just deal with the...
Let's deal with 2 items. If you're smart, you don't bring things to somebody else's house until you got a piece of paper that says the state of, where do you come from? Washington recognizes that this person and this person are husband and wife. They live together. Anything they have is joint. You want to be a fool and bring over all those things to that's fine. You want to be a fool and pay for the tinting on his car?
Yes, ma'am.
You do that. But you don't come to court then and say, listen, you have to make me whole because the relationship didn't work out. Otherwise, I would be working 24 hours a day. And I don't like to work so hard.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Hannah Lee says ex-boyfriend Ezra Blanche owes for a karaoke machine, a DVD player, and other household items. Ezra says Hannah forgave the debt when she lost a bet.
Okay, let's deal with the karaoke machine and the DVD player. Let me hear, sir, your rendition of the karaoke machine.
Well, basically, the idea was to go half on the CDGs and things like that. But I didn't want it, I figured if we're going to break up, I don't want to have to deal with having to give it back to her, so I gave her money for these things.
You did? How much money did you give her?
Yes, I gave her $1,200 as payment on a lot of the things.
Let's talk about specifically the karaoke machine.
Okay, and the DVD player. The DVD player was actually a gift. As a matter of fact, that was a Christmas gift. But she's all about money. Basically, okay.
I'm not interested in your editorial comments. Just stick to the facts.
Okay. The fact is that she believes that she can throw money at something.
Listen to me. That's editorial. Do you understand what editorial means?
It's relevant.
I want the facts. When you say to me the DVD player was a Christmas present, that is your determination of a fact.
Okay, there's also
then I will ask you questions about it. Right now we're on the karaoke machine. You say that you gave her $1,200 towards the karaoke machine and the other stuff that goes with it.
Correct.
Did he give you any money towards it?
He did give me money. However, that money was for the negative equity on his car because he drove a Camaro when I first met him, and he couldn't afford it anymore. And so I bailed him out. I had a...
That's incorrect, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
It was $7,000 negative equity, and he had to get rid of the car because his child support was going up.
So how much did you give him?
I gave him my Tercel. That's $4,500.
You gave him your car.
I traded in my car, and I bought a Mazda Miata.
So how did he get any money?
My car was the money, and I said, well, I lost my car in this trade, and he said, I would pay you $100 a month to help with your payments and stuff like that. So I took the $1,200 as part of the money for my car.
Did she help you out with your negative balance on your car?
Basically, she traded her car in on a deal, and I also paid money also.
He paid.
I don't care about what you paid also. I'm talking about what money came out of her pocket. Are you following me? Did she, in the course of your relationship, help you out by trading in her car, which cost her some money?
It was also for her benefit, Your Honor.
Was it for your benefit?
Both, yes, Your Honor.
How much benefit did you receive from it?
$1,000.
Did you pay her back for that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you paid her back the $1,000 in addition to the $1,200 that you gave her for the karaoke machine?
Based on a bet, Your Honor, yes.
Excuse me?
Based on a bet, Your Honor, yes, and also based on
What do you
vandalism.
mean based on a bet? Explain that to me.
She made a bet, Your Honor, that she would have a six-pack of abs in 30 days.
No, I don't understand. Didn't say a word that you said, sir.
She made a bet, or she made a wager that she could do something within 30 days, and she did not do it in the 30 days. She lost that particular bet.
She lost that bet, and who did she make the bet with?
With me.
So it's not that you paid her the $1,200.
No, I did pay her $1,200, John.
So what you didn't pay her for was the $1,000 for the car.
Correct, but we never agreed to pay on that.
So what debt was forgiven as a result of this wager that you had?
I have a list, Your Honor.
Of things that were forgiven as a result of the wager?
A list of things that she purchased and I've paid for either with the wager or with services or with vandalism.
Tell me about the vandalism.
Well, basically, she has a very, very nasty temper, and she has a problem with my past.
What did she do?
She put a hole in my wall. She kicked dents in my door. She put holes in my door.
Now, did she do this, and after she did this, you terminated the relationship?
Terminated the relationship several times, Your Honor.
All right, but you didn't terminate the relationship after each of these incidents, finally.
Actually, I did, and then she would always try to throw money back at me.
Whatever,
Yeah.
sir. You didn't. She punched a hole in the wall, you had a fight, she left, then she came back. Is that right?
Yes.
And you took her back, right? And she continued to come on weekends.
Correct.
That is what we call forgiving. You forgave those things. You don't come now and say, I sort of charged it off to debts and wagers. Listen, sir, you have a DVD player in your house and a karaoke machine, is that right?
Correct.
Does the karaoke machine work?
Yes.
And all the accoutrements work?
Yes.
And what about the DVD player? Does it work?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Pack it all up, because she's getting it back. Not all this other nonsense. But this she's getting back, because if you have a relationship that doesn't work out, clearly the karaoke machine you say you paid for, I don't believe you paid for it.
What about the damages, Your Honor?
I don't have a counterclaim for damages, sir. You never filed a claim against her for damages, did you?
No, I didn't have a chance to, Your Honor.
Well, chance. That's what we're here for. I don't have a claim. The karaoke machine you said you paid for, and then you did the negative equity in the car you didn't pay for, but then there was a wager, and she said, if I can spin around 4 times with a banana on my nose, then I will pay for it. Whatever the bet was. She lost the bet, so you said, that's baloney. Okay. Relationship is terminated. You have to do the right thing. The right thing is if she invested a lot of money in electrical equipment for your house.
The DVD player was a gift, Your Honor.
Does it sound familiar to you that she said, let's put one upstairs because it's too cold downstairs?
Not exactly, Your Honor, no.
Well, what exactly? You said not exactly. Was that a no or a yes?
Well, she told me that I could forget about paying for that because she had done something in the relationship and she wanted to stay.
She said, you can forget about paying for it because
Right.
I did something wrong.
Correct.
A minute ago, you told me it was a Christmas present.
Well, on top of that, Your Honor.
Oh, a minute ago, you told me it was a Christmas present.
Yes, Your Honor.
You see, when you lie, sir, what happens is you usually
Your
trip
Honor, no.
over your tongue eventually, you know? Eventually. You're giving back the DVD player and the karaoke machine. They're going back within 5 days. Pack them up. She will pay for shipping, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Court will prepare an order. Good luck to you both. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It just didn't work out, but I still care about him a lot.
She's got a very nasty temper.
He's a good person.
She likes to get physical and violent.
I wish him the very best.
She needs to grow up.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bacamino versus Gala, step forward, please.
Tammy Bacamino and her boyfriend John Adams are suing motel manager Eric Gala for charging a bedspread to her credit card. Eric says while staying at his Love Motel, the couple stole it.
According to your complaint, you were a guest at a motel that was run by or owned by the defendant. You left. You evidently signed a credit card for your stay. When you got your credit card bill in the mail, you noticed that there was an additional charge. You called up to find out what the additional charge was, and what were you told?
They said I stole a bedspread, a round bedspread.
Okay, and how much did they charge you for the round bedspread?
It was $80. It's not the money.
Shh.
It was just the principle that I would not steal something.
Absolutely. So what did you do when you saw the charge?
Well, first of all, this is my boyfriend of 3 years. It was our anniversary. And just for the fun of it, as a novelty, we went to this hotel that had a round bed and a jacuzzi. And he was surprised. I mean, I did it as a surprise for him. He didn't know. And it's, you know, it's for 3 hours and it's $75. And you go in and just use the jacuzzi. And then after we left, I didn't find out till a month later that they also charged me $80.
For the bedspread.
Right.
So what did you do when you found out about this $80 charge?
Yep, I called them and I asked them what's this extra $80 charge because it did not say on my charge card statement. And it was the woman in charge at the time, or I guess the lady who runs the desk. And she said, oh, it must have been a mistake and that, you know, she was going to look into it for me and then they would credit my card back. She told me to call back in 2 days, which I did. And she didn't have an answer for me. And then I called back again, and then she said, well, the manager, his name was Eric Gale, said that I had stolen the round bedspread.
Okay. What date did you go to the motel?
It was May 30th. May 30th of last year.
And what hours did you rent this room?
It was from 8 o'clock to 11.
Is this a busy place?
I don't think so. It's a fun place.
This is not
No, but is it a busy place?
a five-star motel or anything like
No,
that.
I don't mean that. I didn't ask if it was a five-star motel.
You know,
I asked you if it
it's
was
just a
busy. When you
novelty
got
thing.
there, there might have been other cars.
Well, there might have been. I didn't really notice.
You didn't notice. Okay, Mr. Gala,
Yes, Your Honor.
let me hear you, sir.
Well, the clerk that she had mentioned that she called when she was disputing her charge explained to me that she was told to check with who she had stayed with. Maybe they misadvertently took the bedspread.
How big is this bedspread?
It's a king-size quilted bedspread.
You don't accidentally take a king-size quilted bedspread.
Well,
And it's round.
What we found in the past, Your Honor, when something like this happens and we go through this procedure, when we ask them to check, usually within 1 or 2 days it reappears and we reverse the charges, is usually what happens. When the clerk asked her to check with the person she stayed with, she was emphatic that she was with her husband and her husband did not take it.
So,
I did not say that.
Shh. And the maid, when she checked the room, had explained that the door was locked.
oh, you can't tell me what the maid explained. The maid's not here. Where's the maid?
Well, she's been with us for 5 years. She would not have taken the bedspread.
I don't know who took the bedspread.
Who in their right mind would take a soiled bedspread from
Just a second.
anywhere?
So far, it doesn't sound like you're having a
think it's
problem here.
ridiculous.
Okay. They came to the motel. They stayed for 3 hours. Were you present that day?
I don't recall, Your Honor.
So you have no first-hand information about this case.
Well, the only thing that I can explain to you is that we're a family-owned and operated business for 50 years. Last 26 years, I've been managing it. The maid's been there for 5 years. We have a security gate all the way around the premises. We have traffic control gates.
You have
to get
the
in and out.
register of the guests that evening?
I don't have that with me, but I do have the credit card statement that she signed
No,
for
that's
the
not
room.
what I'm asking for. I'm asking you for the register of how many people slept in that room or stayed in that room on May 30th.
Just them, Your Honor.
You don't know that of your own personal knowledge, sir.
Yes, I have checked into that.
No, no, no. I want to see the register from the hotel for that date.
I was explaining to you they were the only ones to use it.
You don't know that, sir, because you said, I don't know whether I was even there that day.
No, I checked into it. I looked at the
I
paperwork.
can't rely on your checking into it, sir. That's why we're in court.
The maid does make a morning check, and
She's not here, sir. You're giving me hearsay.
Okay.
And you can't testify because, you know what hearsay is about? Hearsay is about my being able to cross-examine a witness, which is exactly what we're doing now. I'm examining you. I'm not just asking you questions that come out of here. I'm asking you questions to get facts. You can't give me the facts of your own knowledge. You can only give me facts based upon something that you've heard from somebody else, which is useless to me in court. So, you have to reverse their charge for the $80.
Yes,
They
Your
say
Honor.
they didn't do it. You have no proof that they did. Absolutely none. Right? That's admissible in court. So give them back their $80. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat, please.
Miss Sturm, who is this little girl?
My daughter and also my assistant teacher.
How old is she?
12.
Would you step outside, please? Because of the nature of these proceedings, Miss Sturm, I don't think it's appropriate to have your daughter here. If I think that later on I require her to come in, I will. Mr. Spinner?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, Miss Sturm became a friend but was a dance instructor of yours. And you took a series of dance lessons from her. You were encouraged by her to enter a competition with her, and you were successful in winning a couple of medals at that competition, the two of you.
Right.
But that at some point she filed false allegations against you of sexual misconduct.
Right.
And you want to be reimbursed for all of your expenses that you had relative to that. And also, you want to be reimbursed for the unused dance classes that you took. And also, at least one of the medals that you received.
2 medals, Your Honor. 2 medals.
You received 2. You want either one or both. Ms. Sturm says that everything she said was true, that you did in fact make unwarranted and overt sexual movements towards her during the course of your dance and at other times, and whatever complaint she made about you was truthful and accurate, and therefore you're not entitled to recover. She also says that with regard to your dance lessons, the unused time, because you prepaid for a series of dance lessons, she told you that she had a no refund policy. Is that right?
Yes.
So that's her defense. So let me get some facts. How long have you known Miss Sturm?
We've originally dated in 1997. I met her at a singles dance, and we had a relationship that lasted about a year. And it was a kind of a rocky relationship, and then I ended it, or she ended it.
Okay.
And then after that, we both went our separate ways. She opened up a dance studio earlier this year, January of this year, and I went in about the middle of January. I congratulated her on her success in the dance business, and then I left. But I was in the market for looking for a new studio. I wanted to continue with my dance lessons, and I chose Miss Sturm because I knew that she had a good reputation for teaching dance. So I decided, well, I'll go ahead and I'll just try this and see what happens.
Okay. You went in to see her in mid-January to congratulate her. Then you decided you wanted to take dance lessons from her. When did you go back, or how did you contact her with regard to those dance lessons?
I started taking dance lessons from her in late February.
And what were the cost of these dance lessons?
She charged, for a set of 10, she charged $400.
And did you pay her the $400?
Well, originally I didn't do that. She has a $50 for one dance lesson a week. So that's what I did at the beginning. And then later on, I paid the $400 for a set of 10.
And had you been paying right along?
I was paying like for maybe a couple of sets of 10 before she denied her services to me. So I actually had done the set of 10 a couple of different times before this incident happened.
Okay. How many hours of lessons do you believe that Miss Sturm owes you?
Let's see, I gave her a check in June 3rd for check number 642 for $440 for 11 dance lessons.
Well, if in June you gave her $440 for 10, and was that the last money you gave her?
No, actually I gave her another $200, which was for group lessons.
Another $200 for group. So you think she owes you at least for 10?
$640, exactly.
Okay. Now, let me go to Miss Sturm. When did you make these allegations about his sexual misconduct?
When I did that, it was after I had expelled him verbally on June 15th.
Okay. And you made those complaints to whom?
2 different police stations.
You have a copy of the complaints that you made?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see. Miss Sturm, I have some questions for you, madam. I want you to listen to me very carefully.
Okay.
I've read your answer very clearly, and I've read every word of your answer, and I've read the police reports. I want you to specifically tell me the date, time, and place of the sexual misconduct that you allege.
It was June 12th.
What did he do on June 12th?
That's when he lifted me up in the air and had his hand between my legs. And I told him to put me down.
Okay, that was June 12th. When prior to that?
It would be in the beginning of March. I would have to look at my card when I had lessons.
What did he do in the beginning of March?
He put his hand against my breast.
Where were you?
In my back part of my studio. I have 2 different rooms in my studio.
Were you giving him a lesson?
Yes, I was.
What did you say to him?
Don't do that.
And what did he say?
He just shrugged it off.
When was the next time?
Towards the end of March also was the incident when he first grabbed me and tried to kiss me.
Where was this?
In the second part of the studio, the back room, once again. It was just him and me in that room.
When was the next time?
Those were the incidents. There were various times we would be doing a routine when we were practicing, getting ready for competitions, and he would come up behind me and massage my shoulder, or we would be doing a routine and we'd practice a certain pattern because we'd go over and over, and he would reach out and start to hug me. And there was a lot of hugging going on.
Now, there was a time when you and Mr. Spinner traveled from South Bend to Chicago. And you traveled from South Bend to Chicago for the purposes of participating in a dance competition with him. Is that correct, Ms. Sturm?
Yes, it is.
When was that?
That was June 14th and 15th.
So am I to assume, Ms. Sturm, that the fact that he massaged your back in March, put his hand on your breast in March, grabbed you and tried to kiss you in March, put his hand up your crotch in June did not discourage you from traveling with him on the 14th and 15th of June to Chicago for the purposes of participating in a contest with him?
I did confront him on that day.
I'm asking you a question. You went with him, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Now, what prompted you to make these allegations on June 24th, madam? Instead of in March, or April, or June 13th, before you went to the competition with him? What was it?
Okay, there was over 23 incidents over that time. You're right, I was putting up with it because, you know, I'd tell him he would, you know, he kept professing his great love for me. I do
Miss
have...
Miss Sturm, let's understand each other. On the 15th of June, you told me that you cut him off. You told him that he was no longer welcome to come back and take lessons from you. Is that right?
Right, so I told him to get in the car and drive out of my life.
Fine. And you told him that on the 15th of June.
Right.
What did he do after the 15th of June?
Well, first he sent me this letter, Your Honor.
May I see it?
Yes, you may.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what else happened, madam, when you went willingly and not in a state of bondage to Chicago with him that inspired you to call the police and report sexual abuse on the plaintiff's part. Tell me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Robert Spenner says ex-girlfriend Angela Sturm falsely accused him of sexual misconduct and harassment. Angela claims while giving him dance lessons, Robert touched her inappropriately.
So what's wrong with this letter? This is not a letter that inspires you to make a report to the police. He's saying either I want my money back or apply the money that I gave you for group lessons towards private lessons. I'm disappointed with the way the weekend went. As far as he's concerned, you acted in an unprofessional manner, and nothing contained in this letter that I've read, absolutely nothing, suggests to me that it was an inspiration for you to contact the police. So tell me what else happened, madam, after the 15th of June, when you went willingly and not in a state of bondage to Chicago with him, that inspired you to call the police and report sexual abuse on the plaintiff's part. Tell me.
Actually, I was not...
Show me a letter. Tell me the rest. Did he come to your house to stalk you after the 15th?
No, he did it on May 20th.
Okay. Tell me what he did on May 20th.
On May 20th, he just showed up at my house at 2 p.m. and...
2 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Where most of my children were at home. I have 8 children. There were 6 of the children at home. He came to the door. My kids said, Mom, Robert Spenner wants to talk to you. And so I came to the door. I said, what do you want? He says, I want to talk in private. I said, no, you're not talking to me in private. You're going to talk to me in front of my children. And he said, oh, you cannot treat me like this, Angela. You know, what are you doing to me? You're being so mean. You're being so cruel. And then he said, I can't continue to talk to you in front of your children. And he left.
Keep going.
Okay, well, first off, a dance student does not come to their dance teacher.
Keep going!
Okay, so that's what happened there. And if you want to go back to, you know, I have all these love letters.
I don't want to go back at all. I want to go to a place after June 15th.
Okay, after I received that letter. Okay.
After you received this letter, which you received on June 16th.
Okay.
Let me ask you, did you respond to the letter?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I took it to an advisor.
Took it to a spiritual advisor?
No, a friend.
Ms. Sturm, if somebody writes you this kind of letter, which is not a hostile letter, it's a letter of disappointment, it's a letter of frustration, and you chose in a very unprofessional way not to respond to it at all, and you've already told him, according to you, get in your car and get out of my life. Don't come near me. I'm not giving you lessons anymore. I'm not doing anything. And he says, you owe me money. You owe me money. You choose to ignore him. He comes to your house, and he doesn't want to speak to you in front of your 8 children. He said, I want to speak to you privately. And you say, no, you talk in front of my 8 children. And you know what he does? He does what a mature person would do. He leaves. So I want you to tell me what happened after the 20th of June, which is when you say he came to your house at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after the 20th, that inspired you to make a formal complaint of sex abuse to the police against the plaintiff after the 20th.
Okay. I was advised not to respond to the letter because the person was sad, was very angry.
Ms. Sturm, did you hear my words?
Okay.
My words were after June 20th, because so far I've heard nothing that in my judgment gave you cause to call the police and to notify 2 different police officers that he had sexually abused you. So I want you to tell me, what was it after June 20th when he came to your home to talk to you about the problem, the lessons, the money, whatever, and did not behave in any aberrant way? What happened after June 20th that inspired you to go to the police? You have a window of 4 days, madam. Did anything happen?
Right, he kept contacting me after I told him to leave me alone.
Tell me when he contacted you after June 20th.
He sent the letters, and he also called my house on June 23rd, my son Matthew Price.
Just a second. He called your house on June 23rd.
Yes.
Did he speak to you?
No.
Who did he speak to?
My son Matthew Pike.
Did you call the house on June 23rd, sir? Just answer me yes or no.
Yes, I did.
And did you speak to her son?
Yes, I did.
And what did you say to him?
Actually, when I called her, when I called her house, I was looking at my phone bill, and when you dialed *69, it shows the return that whoever who called you. She called me at 2:30 in the morning, and I must have spaced out.
Do you have that?
No, I don't have that phone bill.
So is that why you called her?
So I was wondering who called me at this time, and it just didn't dawn on me it was her. So I called the number to find out who called me, and that's all that was. When I finally found out, when I recognized the voice that was her son, and I said, okay, I'm sorry, and I hung right up. I had no idea. If I knew it was her phone number, I would have never have called.
What else? June 23rd.
He called my house on June 23rd. I called his business on 6/24 at about 2 in the morning, because in the letter that you saw, Judge, he said that if I wanted to contact him about the lessons, to call him at his office.
So you called him at his office at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Yes, because I didn't want to talk to him. I wanted to leave it on his voicemail.
I have that recorded.
Just a second. Now, I want you to tell me what happened as a result of her filing this complaint against you with the police department. Were you contacted by the police?
Yes, I was contacted by a corporal, and I voluntarily went down to the police station. He said that there was a complaint filed against me.
Were you arrested, sir?
I wasn't arrested, but when I went into the interrogation room, he locked the door behind me and he read me my rights. And he didn't say, well, we're not arresting you,
okay,
but...
You voluntarily came in.
I voluntarily came in, but he locked the door behind me.
I understand. I understand, Mr. Spinner. Was this the first time you had ever been in a police interrogation room?
Right, it is.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I work at a homeless shelter, and I counsel the homeless on overcoming barriers to employment.
Okay. When, for the first time, other than this letter, did you ever ask her for your money back or for
yes,
lessons before?
I've contacted the Better Business Bureau. There was several correspondence with them.
Can I see the letters to the Better Business Bureau?
And I also have a letter that I sent to her directly, certified mail. And these are the letters to the Better Business Bureau and their responses back. I tried to keep this out of court. I tried to be as civil as I can, but I tried to use the Better Business Bureau to help with this.
On June 25th, you sent this certified?
That letter prompted her to call the police and said that, and that's when that letter prompted the harassment charges when I was asking for my money.
Now, the only thing that I haven't addressed yet that I just want some information are these 2 medals. Did you win medals with him, dancing with him as a dance partner? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
How many medals did you win?
3.
Where are they now?
1 is in the studio and 2 I have here.
Okay, can I see the 2 that you have here? Okay, these are the same. They're exactly the same. Is that right? What is the 3rd one that you have in the studio? Is that the same as this?
No, it's from Notre Dame.
So it's from a different competition?
Yes.
Okay, and was that on the same weekend in Chicago?
No, it was May 5th in Notre Dame, Indiana.
Okay. Suing her for $1,909.23. And according to your complaint, that represents money for filing these false charges against you, the dance lessons, and a little bit of aggravation, and the return of the 2 medals. Okay. Now, give 1 to him, give 1 back to her. Mr. Spinner, I want you to listen to me very carefully. I'm not getting into how many dance lessons are left, whether you gave her 12-year-old daughter a receipt. I'm not getting into any of that. As far as I'm concerned, the defendant abused the legal system and abused the police department and abused you by filing a false report that you had in fact sexually abused her. And I need not get into all of the details of how many lessons are owed. You are suing her for $1,900, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm giving you a judgment for $1,900 against her. I find her actions absolutely unacceptable. She used the police department because you were asking for your money back. Clearly, nothing that she alleges that you did to her in March, in April, in May, or even in June inspired her to make this complaint. She freely and voluntarily went to Chicago with you. She freely and voluntarily danced in competitions with you after all of these alleged touchy-feely incidents. And it wasn't until after she terminated you coming into her studio after June 24th that she filed these complaints. I am appalled at that. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,900. That's all. Thank you.
Your Honor, this is case number 228 on the calendar in the matter of Haas versus Terhune.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Mr. Haas, was this the gentleman who was with you at the movie theater on the day of the incident?
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, Mr. Haas, the defendant assaulted you by spilling soda on your head in the movie theater. And you were injured. Your eye became infected. Something happened to your eye as a result of that. I read the defendant's answer, and quite frankly, she doesn't deny that she did it. But in effect, her defense is that you're a crybaby. It's no big deal. Is that what your defense is? Yeah, that's what I figured. I don't know how that's going to fly, but we're going to find out. I'm not going to start with you.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Mr. Hume. First, I want you to tell me how old you are.
38.
You work?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a technician on computers.
Tell me when you went to the movies on the day that you came into contact with Mr. Haas. What date was that?
I don't remember. He says it was the 7th of November.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What movie were you going to see?
Frida.
Good movie. For what performance did you buy a
It's
ticket?
the first one, like 11 o'clock, I think, or
In the morning?
Yeah.
Busy theater?
Not a lot of people that day, maybe 30 people.
Now, you arrived at the theater, bought your ticket, and went and took a seat. 30 people, so the theater wasn't full. When did Mr. Haas arrive?
Probably 5 minutes after the movie had started, and it just took him a little bit to settle in.
Where did they settle in? Right in front of you?
In front of me and down maybe 6 seats, probably.
Tell me what happened.
They were talking, and they weren't, I mean, at first it was like, we have our seats now and that kind of thing. But then they kept talking. It wasn't about the movie. They were talking about how they got there and things like that. They were just chatting. And people were staring at them. Finally, I said, please be quiet. And Mr. Haas turned to me and said, we're not being loud enough to disturb you. So then they were quiet for like 10 minutes, and I didn't care. If he had to call me a so he'd be quiet, I didn't care.
Okay.
But then they started again. And again, it wasn't, what did she say or anything? It was just chit-chat. So I got up to leave. I figured, I'm not going to be happy here. There's no point. And as I walked past, I walked right past his head. And I had a big soda in my hand, and I poured it over his head.
Shh. Okay.
So then he, people laughed, and he jumped up and said, you're going to go to jail for assault if I have anything to say about it, and started running and carrying on. And I was leaving, and he was following me, and I figured he's just going to get my license plate, and he can call the police and tell them what a mean lady I am. And instead, I had this book bag. It was heavy enough that it carried books in it. It wasn't like a shopping bag or anything, but it was made out of like a plastic material. And he grabbed it and ripped it in half. I don't have it. I gave it to the police. I wasn't sure if I could take him physically, so I decided to just wait for the police to get there.
And they came and they issued citations to both of you?
At his insistence.
Okay. Mr. Haas, let's take it step by step. Did you arrive 5 minutes after the movie started?
The credits were still rolling.
I don't care whether 5 minutes after the movie started, you arrived.
About.
Why?
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 Well, it was actually the right time to arrive.
Why?
Well, we didn't have to watch the previews.
Yeah, but people got to a movie theater and they settled in, and the movie theater went dark, and then you decide, quite selfishly, to arrive. If you said to me, we didn't mean to arrive late, we just arrived late because we hit traffic or the car wouldn't start or whatever, what you're telling me is you don't have to go in to see the credits and to hear the opening salvo. You just get there when the first word is uttered. So it was the right time. You planned it that way.
Yes.
Well, that's rude. Very rude. And when you sat down, were you speaking to your friend?
A few words.
Why? You've already been rude, arriving late. Other people are there. 30 people arrived on time, settled themselves down. Not only do you arrive late so that your big bodies are blocking the screen so that people can't see it as you're going to sit down in your seats, but you sit down and then you start to talk.
There were only a half a dozen people in the theater, and our
What
big
difference
bodies,
does it make? There were more than you.
and our bodies didn't block any screen viewing
How do you know that?
because there was only a half a dozen people in the theater.
Mr. Haas, so you telling me that your chatter didn't bother anybody else because there were only 6 people in the theater?
A word or two passed between friends isn't chatter.
I don't believe that that's what happened, Mr. Haas. I don't believe that. And I'm not even going to ask him because you didn't say, I'm glad we got here. Fine, I'm going to be quiet. You were talking to him. She asked you to be quiet. And according to you, you said, not talking loud enough to bother you. And you did call her a name. You acknowledged that. Is that
Yes.
right? Well, you're rude and disrespectful. I'm not saying that she had any right whatsoever to do what she did. But I want to tell you something. Most of the people who are sitting here in the courthouse today, as well as Bird, certainly myself, have been in positions where we've gone to the theater, we're respecting the rights of others, and some people who are totally self-absorbed, selfish people can ruin their good time by sitting and chatting because they just don't give a damn about anybody else, and that was you and your friend. Right?
I guess so.
You're damn right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
There's a passive-aggressive piece of you, sir. I'm not exactly sure what the diagnosis would be, but while she needs some anger management classes, you probably need a couple of good hours on a shrink's couch.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Haas claims his eyes were burned when Linda Terhune dumped soda on his head at a movie theater. Linda says Michael wouldn't stop talking during the film.
Mr. Haas, I am totally unsympathetic with you. I just want you to know that. You were rude, and she had had it up to here. So, now prove to me, other than your wounded ego and your damp shirt, what injuries you sustained.
Shortly after leaving the theater, I had to take my contact lenses out that they were bothering me. I tried to call my eye doctor because my eyes were burning. It was over the Veterans Day holiday, so I wasn't able to see my eye doctor, until the following Tuesday. And then when I did go to the eye doctor, I was diagnosed with a chemical burn in my eyes.
Show me.
In here.
Are these 2 different office visits?
Yes.
I'm just looking for the date on here.
11/12 was the first date.
So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So 6 days later, you went to the doctor for the first time. Is that right?
It was Veterans Day weekend, and all the doctors were unavailable.
No, that's not true. Doctors are available. They're available in an emergency room if you have a chemical burn in your eye. So what were your out-of-pocket expenses, sir?
About $1,295.
Show me. I see one bill for $40 and one bill for, well, this I don't understand, sir. February 19th, 2003, you went to the doctor for $305.
That was as a result of not being able to wear my contact lenses anymore. I had to get eyeglasses.
That doesn't say that here at all. It doesn't say that here at all. Yeah. I don't buy it, sir. So you can take this back. Now, let's get up to $1,200 and some odd dollars. Where is that from?
In addition to needing to go to the eye doctor, evidently when the contents of her cup were dumped on my head and I jumped up from my chair, I sprung my back and went to the chiropractor.
See the groans? Let me see the chiropractor. While you're looking for that, Mr. Haas, did you sprain your back before or after you've chased her out into the parking lot and grabbed her backpack?
Well, there was no chase to the parking lot. This was a mall theater. She tried to escape when I was trying to call the police.
Please, was the injury before or after you grabbed her backpack?
It was before.
Okay. Now let me see the report from the chiropractor. Sir, these are just bills. You have a report from the chiropractor?
They're paid bills.
I'm asking you if you have a report from the chiropractor.
No.
No. Yeah, then you know that this is nonsense. So far, the only bill I have is $40 for your eye exam on or about the 12th of November. What else?
In addition to the chiropractor.
Chiropractor, I'm not considering, sir. I don't know whether
you
sprained listen to me. I don't know whether you sprained your back hopping into your car. I don't know whether you sprained your back or neck at all. I have no idea. When you come to court, you have to have a doctor's report. A doctor's report will tell you exactly what you were treated for, what you complained of, what your symptoms were. Paid bills is not it. What else?
There was more to the eyes than just a $40 bill. How much is your eyesight worth to you?
How much is my eyesight worth? I don't know. How is your eyesight between the time that she poured the soda on your head and today? What has been the progression of your eye disease?
Well, I used to wear contact lenses all of the time, and after the incident where the contents of the cup were dumped on my eyes, I have never been able to wear contacts again. That's why I had to buy eyeglasses.
As I said, I'm not excusing the defendant's behavior. I think that she acted inappropriately in a juvenile manner, and I am unsympathetic. I'm also unsympathetic, sir, with your request for $3,000 in medical expenses and pain and suffering because somebody just got really annoyed enough at you and your rudeness to act out her worst fantasy, which was to get up and pour her drink over your head and say, you annoyed me and the rest of the people in this theater, and now I'm going to annoy you and make your life a little bit miserable. Because all I wanted to do this morning was come and see a very good movie, and you destroyed that moment for me, you and your chatty friend. And I'm going to get even with you. And everybody here has had a moment like that. You had no right to do that. She also had no right to throw soda on him. By the way, did you ever at any time apologize to her for using profanity and calling her a name?
No, I would expect that she would apologize to me and be responsible for taking some anger management course.
Mm-hmm. What's the name? Oh, gee, there used to be a woman who dealt in etiquette. I'm trying to think. Miss Manners. She owes you an apology. She does. You owe her an apology.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michael Haas claims his eyes were burned when Linda Terhune dumped soda on his head at a movie theater. Linda says Michael wouldn't stop talking during the film.
Now, he had out-of-pocket expense of $40. I'm giving him 10 times those damages, $400. Now, there's a passive-aggressive piece of you, sir. I'm not exactly sure what the diagnosis would be, but it's certainly passive-aggressive. Because if you can go into a public theater and somebody says to you, could you please be quiet? And instead of just saying, well, I didn't realize I was disturbing somebody, turn around and curse them, and then continue to annoy them, there is some passive aggressiveness about you. And while she needs some anger management classes, you probably need a couple of good hours on a shrink's couch. That's it, $400 for the plaintiff.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Well, I think it speaks volumes to the lack of gentility that we now have in our country, where someone can assault you in a public place and skate as easily as Mr. Hune did.
The only thing that surprises me is that more people don't pour sodas on Mr. Haas's head.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Weber versus Crittenden. Step forward, please.
Homemaker Lisa Weber is suing her neighbor, Sarah Crittenden, for the cost to replace a car window. Lisa says Sarah's 7-year-old son, Zach, broke it when he threw a rock at her daughter.
Miss Weber, is this your daughter?
Yes.
And who is this gentleman?
My husband.
I'd like your husband to stand up with you. It is your claim that the defendant's little boy threw a rock and hit the window of your car, breaking it.
Yes.
Is that right? When did that happen?
August the 1st. It was on a Friday night.
Shattering the window.
Were you outside, sir?
Yes, I was.
Did you see this happen?
I didn't actually see the rock leave his hand, but I was standing right next to the window with my neighbor, and it flew right in front of me and hit the window.
Was it in the front yard of
Yes,
your
ma'am.
house?
I was in a driveway.
Is that where your daughter had been playing?
Yeah, she was out there with me.
So this is what I gather happened. And this is from putting together some pieces. Your daughter was outside playing in the front yard, and so was Mrs. Crittenden's son, whose name is?
Zach.
And your name is?
Ashley.
Ashley was trying to get Zachary to go home.
Yes.
Is that right, Ashley? You can come over and stand next to your father. And you are 12 years old.
Yes.
And Zachary is 7. And at some point, Ashley picked up a rock and threw it in Zachary's direction where he was standing in a flower bed. Isn't that right, Ashley?
No, I was throwing it in the flower bed.
Which is where he happened to be standing.
Yes.
And it hit him.
He jumped in front of it.
It hit him.
Yes.
Yeah. But Zachary picked up
So,
the rock.
I'm speaking. So Zachary picked up the rock that you threw at him, right?
Yes.
And he threw it back at you.
Yes.
And that's the rock that hit your car, right?
I believe so, yes.
So what I want to know, Mr. Weber, where were you when your 12-year-old daughter threw a rock at 7-year-old Zachary?
I was standing right in the driveway talking to my neighbor.
Why didn't you stop her?
I had already told Zach to leave. I didn't even see with them going on there. My neighbor told him to get off the property.
Why?
Because Zach is a little bit high-strung. He destroys a lot of stuff. Matter of fact, a week before that, he pulled a knife on the same neighbor, told him to get out of the yard.
Just a second. I'm talking about August 1st.
That was the...
I'm speaking. I'm talking about August 1st when your daughter threw a rock that hit him. Didn't you say something to her?
No, I didn't see it.
And you didn't see him throw a rock that hit your window?
I never seen it leave his hand.
Who saw that?
Me.
What exactly did you see, Ashley?
He just threw the rock.
What rock?
The rock that was in the flower bed.
The rock that you had thrown at him?
Yes.
Didn't you think you could hurt him if you threw a rock at him?
Yes.
So why did you do it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. What did you think he was supposed to do when you threw a rock at him?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Did you think a little 7-year-old who's much younger than you are might get angry and pick up the rock and throw it back at you?
Yes.
You did think about that, didn't you?
No.
You just told me yes. You mean you thought if you threw it at him that he would just run away and go home?
No.
Well, what did you think he might do?
I don't know.
Why do you think she should be responsible for your car?
Because the whole situation was my daughter was trying to get him out of the yard, was chasing him out of the yard. He picked up the rock and threw it at her first and hit her in the arm. So she picked up the rock to throw it back, and he jumped in front of the rock. This was just what I was told.
Jump in front of a rock?
Shh. I don't believe he hit her with the rock, because you didn't say that in your complaint. You say in your complaint he threw a rock at her and she picked up the same rock and tossed it into a flower bed where he was standing. She missed the flower bed and accidentally hit him with the rock. Nowhere in here do you say that he hit her with a rock.
But he threw the rock at her first.
That's not what I'm saying. So he didn't hit her with the rock because you would have said it if he hit her first. Right?
Yes.
I think you have to watch out at your own house before you throw rocks at somebody else. The person who started this problem was your 12-year-old daughter who should have known better.
That's not true.
Who should have known a lot better. She picked up a rock because she's bigger, stronger, older, and threw a rock at him and hit him with the father standing outside. And I don't believe he didn't see what was going on.
I didn't see what was going on.
Then you take responsibility and fix your own car window. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
This is a joke. This is a joke.
Excuse me.
Oh, this is a joke.
Versus Tatum. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Ms. Davidson, you were a guest at the defendant's club. And according to your complaint, a fight broke out. Some sort of a scuffle broke out, and everybody started to run towards the exits. You tripped over a piece of carpeting or rug, and you were injured. You want the defendant to pay for your injuries as well as your pain and suffering. And Mr. Tatum says you fell. It was your fault. Pretty much.
Yes, Your Honor. I have a...
Okay. Good. Tell me when this happened.
It happened April 31st.
Impossible.
On May 1st, 2004.
What kind of club is it?
It's a sports bar, restaurant, dance bar, too.
Have you ever been to the club before?
Yes.
How many times?
I'd say give or take about 5 times.
All right, tell me what happened.
Well, me and my cousin got there about 12:30.
Is this your cousin?
My cousin's boyfriend was throwing this party where you had to pay $7 to get in, and all the drinks were supposed to be free. So we got in, paid our $7, we went to the bar where they was giving out the free stuff, and then we sat down and just started talking. And all of a sudden, a big bunch of people was in this section, and then just several fights. Just one fight broke out, and then it seemed like several fights just broke out, and everybody just started running. And when everybody started running, my cousin said, "Come on, Shanika, come on." So I started running. Then I tripped over the rug and fell forward, and my ankle just went down and like clamped. And my cousin covered me. I hit the wall, and so my cousin covered my body because she thought I was going to get trampled by all the people running out. And when the crowd cleared out, that's when me and her came out, and we got in our car and left, went home.
Do you have a medical record?
I went to the hospital about 12 that afternoon.
How many people were in the club?
I say about 70 to 80.
Was your ankle put in a cast?
Yes, I had a ankle brace.
For how long?
2 weeks.
Okay. Did you have any out-of-pocket expenses?
I have to wait until Medicaid informs me of how much I have to pay. They do not pay for the emergency room doctors.
Okay. Tell me about this rug that you tripped over.
Well, the rug is in front of the door, the exit door, and I don't know if it was wet or whatever, and I slid up, and
Is it a carpet that's down, that's tacked down, or is it a runner?
Carpet.
It's a carpet.
Mm-hmm.
Was it raised in any way?
It was torn, and he had some covering on top of it.
Go ahead, Mr. Tatum.
Your Honor, I'm definitely in disagreement with her entire testimony.
Well, you're not suggesting that Miss Davidson is lying and making up a story that she fell at your sports club.
I'm really not sure of that because I was never informed, period, of whether she was failed or any of my staff members, whether she ever contacted any of those on the night in question. So there's no evidence other than her testimony that she did.
Okay. And her cousins, who's going to stand up right now. Tell me your name.
My name is David Talley.
You were with your cousin, Miss Davidson, on the night, and I assume that the night is the 30th of April because the emergency room visit was the next day on the 1st of May. You went there for a function?
Yes, ma'am.
What time did these fights break out in the club?
It was around 2, because by the time we got home, it was maybe about 2:30, so it was around about 2 because we waited on everything to clear out before we actually left out the club.
When you say you waited until everything cleared out, explain that to me.
Because everybody was running. Once they started fighting, everybody just started running. And when she fell, like I said, I covered her body, and when I covered her body just to make sure that she wouldn't get trampled on, we were right by the exit door because the door sticks out. He has like a wooden part that sticks out, and you can open the door that goes out. And on the side, it's just where the wall is. We stayed right there in that corner till everybody ran out, and then I walked her out the door.
Okay. Now, Mr. Tatum, were you in the club the night of the 30th of April?
That particular incident, I was there.
Look, Mr. Tatum, I want you to look over there.
Yeah.
Don't look down there. I want you to look right over here, sir.
I was thinking. No.
But
I was there. I was there when that altercation broke out, that particular altercation. I was actually on the side of that particular night, yes, I was.
What did you see?
I was on stage announcing that we were about to have the contest, that we were giving away $200 to the sexiest lady in the club. And we had announced it on that song, and prior to getting to that song, there was altercation broke out on the dance floor. And I immediately left the stage and went over and proceeded to help break up the altercation myself. So there was no altercation in the back. It was on the dance floor because I was there. There was one mirror broken at that particular incident. And
are you telling me, Mr. Tatum, that nobody ran out of the club?
At that particular time, I was at front. I couldn't see who went out the back. I could not see. My security guard was at the back. He may be able to give you a more clear view of that.
Tell me your last name, sir.
Tate.
Mr. Tate, how many people ran out of the club that evening?
It was several run out.
Would you say several is more than 5 or less than 5?
More than 5.
More than 10 or less than 10?
More than 10.
Right. And when they ran out of the club, they ran out of the club. Why, Mr. Tate? Because they got nervous because there was a fight?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me see the pictures, Mr. Tatum, of the carpet that you
I have a
are going to
videotape
show
as well, Your Honor.
Of what?
Of the club and the carpet in question.
When did you take a videotape of that carpeting?
I took that as soon as I was contacted about the suit, and I had done nothing to the carpet or to the club prior to that point. And I have some pictures here.
I'm not so sure, sir, but let me see the pictures. I don't have to see the videotape. The videotape was prepared after you were notified that you were going to get sued.
I didn't take up the carpet, Your Honor, or neither did I put anything down. Carpet is in excellent condition.
All I want you to show me, Miss Davidson, is there anywhere here which depicts the entranceway to the club where you fell?
Right here. That's the exit.
Is that where you fell?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Bird, let me take a quick look at that, would you please?
Where this door is.
Where this door is? Well, I can't see the carpet.
Where that bar stool goes down, right before he had it fixed, it was split right there where the carpets meet on both sides, where if you can tell the rail that goes down the middle, it used to be bulged. It had a rubber mat that used to be there. He's removed that and smoothed it out and put the carpet there because I went last week, and it's been smoothed out, and it's not there anymore because I've almost tripped over it a time before when I've went.
That's not true, Your Honor. I've never done anything to that carpet. That carpet is one continuous piece. It's been put together with carpet tape. It is one continuous carpet. I do everything I possibly can to make my establishment safe.
I'm sure you
no
do.
guns in there.
Mr. Tatum, I'm sure you do. I have to make a judgment as to who I believe. She says she went back there and you had changed the contour of the carpet. And she describes exactly how you changed the contour of the carpet, Mr. Tatum. Now, I have some questions for Mr. Tate. Mr. Tate, there were between 80 and 100 people there that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
How many in security do you have?
It's 5 of us.
Okay, were all 5 people there that evening?
Yes, ma'am.
And what do you do?
I make sure no one comes in that door. Everybody go out that door that she's talking about she fell at, and I make sure no one comes in. And if any altercations come up, I help with those.
Well, what does that mean, Mr. Tate? That you make sure that everybody goes in and out of that door that she goes out of?
If they go out that door, they cannot come back in that one. They enter the door with the security warrant to check for any weapons, anything.
Yes.
You know, I wanted to add that when the fight broke out, the security wasn't trying to break up the fight. He just opened the door to make people run out. Sometimes I've even caught him running from a fight, Mr. Tatum.
That's a bold-faced lie right there, Your Honor.
Did you notice, Mr. Tatum,
Mr.
Tatum, do you have insurance?
Yes, I do.
When you were notified by Miss Davidson that she fell, did you notify your insurance company?
Not right off, Your Honor. I don't believe it. I think she's lying. Like she's lying right there about me running from a fight. I don't need to run. I work out. I'm very well capable of taking care of myself.
Mr. Davidson,
and we know they don't have guns, they don't have knives.
I asked you a question.
So is this
what doesn't have guns and what doesn't have knives? He says he checks for guns and knives. So I assume that if you're checking for guns and knives, there's been a history of people trying to bring guns and knives into the club. I mean, that's
in other clubs, Your Honor, not in my club.
Yeah. Mr. Tatum, your own employee says his function is to ensure when people come into the club that they do not bring in guns and knives. That's what he's searching for, correct?
Correct.
You're not searching their pocketbooks for turkeys, chickens, hens. You're not searching for that, are you?
No, ma'am.
No. You're searching for guns and knives. And the reason you're searching for guns and knives is because sometimes people try to bring in those weapons into a club. Is that right?
That's right.
All right. Mr. Tatum.
I
don't want you to think that I'm stupid, sir. I'm not a stupid person.
I wouldn't dare.
That's why he's there. That's why he's there. He's there because there's been a history of people trying to bring guns and knives into the club. And he's there to ensure, hopefully, that that doesn't happen.
Right.
That's what he's there for. So don't say there are no guns and knives in the club.
We check for that, and because there are other clubs there. I'm not the only other club there. I did my research. They have had shootings in other clubs. I've been there for 4 years, and we've never had one in my club. Or
Good. Why?
Because he just now letting younger people inside of his club.
I don't care what the reason is. That's a wonderful thing. But on this night, something happened, Mr. Tatum. On this night, your security didn't work.
Security worked fine.
No, it did not.
I was a part of the breakup.
Mr. Tatum, on this night, your security was not effective in ensuring that fights didn't break up in the club, and as a result of that, there was a stampede to the door. That is according to your own employee, who wouldn't dare think of lying to me, right?
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
I really couldn't deal with the relationship and school and work. You know, we decided to separate at that point.
We did not decide that we were going to separate. She dumped me.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Shanika Davidson says nightclub owner Charles Tatum owes for medical bills resulting from an accident in his club. Shanika says she tripped while fleeing from a brawl.
You were incapacitated for approximately 2 weeks?
Yes, Your Honor.
And were you able to work during those 2 weeks?
No, Your Honor. They had to find other people.
Okay. How much do you earn a day?
$125 a week.
Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I'd like to contend that this is something that's been started prior to my establishment starting, because we provide security, we provide electronic security. There's a club right down the street from my establishment that's been in business for 15 years. They don't provide no security. They don't even check. These people come to my establishment and react the same exact way that they go down to this other establishment, and because they don't have any security. They don't have a check for weapons. We do. There's no reason for not one person to leave. We have several security guards. I was in there. I broke up that fight. I was there when the mirror fell off the wall. The people run because that's what they do normally at the other club, because they don't know. They don't know where they have guns. They don't realize that they're in an establishment that can provide security. If they're running out of security.
Mr. Tatum.
Yes, ma'am.
Your argument is foolish, sir.
And there's no tear in that carpet.
And I don't believe that, sir. I believe this lady when she says that there was a tear in the carpeting, that it was smoothed over when she went. It was different when she went back to the club last week, different from the way it was on the night of April 30th. And I believe that there was some alteration. I don't believe you, Mr. Tatum, that you didn't fix the tear. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500, which is 10 times your actual damages, which were 125 times 2, which is $250 for the 2 weeks that you were out of work. I've made that times 10. That means 10 times your actual damages, $2,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Mr. Tatum has a really bad attitude, and I did not want to discuss my injuries because I knew he wouldn't be a reasonable person, because he is not a reasonable person.
She lied. She was a liar.
And it was 2 or 3 fights, because my cousin was the one who was fighting some of them.
I think she's a liar. This is simple. You know, if she'd done that, she done it on her own. It was no negligence on my part or my people's part.
If he has adequate security, I've only seen 2 security guards there. One that checks you when you come in, and him waiting at the door to let you out when you go out.
We just need to keep, people need to go to church and learn to tell the truth.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ramsey versus Chapman, step forward, please.
24-year-old student Christopher Ramsey is suing his ex-fiancée, 21-year-old student Antoinette Chapman, for her tuition and the cost of living expenses. Christopher says Antoinette used him.
Mr. Ramsey, Miss Chapman was your girlfriend, and you lived together for a while, according to your complaint. It is your claim that she owes you money for support. She agreed to support you for your final year in college.
Yes.
Okay. When did you and Miss Chapman start to live together?
May 2003.
And how long had you dated before that?
About 3 years before that.
Were you both juniors in college at the time when you moved in May of 2003?
I was a junior and she was a senior.
Tell me about your agreement, Mr. Ramsey, and why you made the agreement.
We decided that I would sit out of school for 2 semesters, and I would work 2 jobs, which I did. I worked approximately about 75 hours a week to support her while she went through school.
While she completed her senior year?
Yes.
Was that because you both ran out of money, or there wasn't enough money for both of you to go to school?
It was just an easier situation if one of us worked and one of us went to school, and it was fine because we planned on getting married.
Prior to May of 2003, had Miss Chapman been employed?
Yes, she was working at the Holiday Inn.
As what?
She did housekeeping there.
And after you made this agreement with her, did she continue to work?
Yes, she did.
Who was paying your tuition?
I had some financial aid, and any other expenses came out of whatever money we had in the household.
So what happened, Miss Chapman?
I was working still, and between school and work, it got really stressful, and I really couldn't deal with the relationship and school and work, and, we decided to separate at that point.
Okay, and?
I felt that the agreement was for as long as we were together, and since we broke up, the agreement wasn't valid anymore.
Did you graduate?
Yes.
Well, so this is an interesting situation, isn't it?
It's a very interesting situation, and we did not decide that we were going to separate. She dumped me. That's the bottom line.
You have an obligation to support him in his last year of college while he's going to school. You can't say, well, I don't love you anymore, honey. You took care of me, and I finished the school, and here's my diploma. But now I don't love you anymore, and I have no responsibility. That is inequitable, it's unfair, it's unjust enrichment. You have an agreement. He fulfilled his obligation to his detriment by not going to school for that year, and you got to pay him. Minimally, you have to pay him. The maximum allowed by this court is $5,000, and minimally, 10 months at $500 a month, which is minimally what he will need to subsist, is, I believe, a fair judgment. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Ms. Kilmer, has been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
How old are you, Miss Kibble?
I'm 17.
You're a mother? According to what I read, your mother moved out of state. Is that right? Where had you been living?
I was living with my cousin.
In what state?
In Indiana.
And where did you move to?
I moved from Chicago to Portage, Indiana in February.
And how far is that away from where your daughter was living?
Prior, in Illinois, I was about a 20-minute ride.
Let's start over again. Were you and your daughter living together?
No, ma'am.
No.
Why not?
I was waiting to relocate into Indiana from Illinois. And she was attending school there and wanted to keep attending school there.
In Indiana?
In Indiana.
Okay. Had you been living with your daughter in Indiana? Or was your daughter living with you at any time?
No, ma'am.
Who were you living with?
I first lived with my Aunt Angela. And then
until you were how old?
Until I was about 15, maybe 16.
So you never lived with your mother?
Not in Indiana.
Anywhere?
Yes. When
Where?
In Las Vegas.
When you were how old?
From the time I was born until I was 14.
After you were 14, you lived with other relatives?
Yes.
You want to tell me why?
We don't have the best relationship.
You have any siblings?
I have a little sister.
Who does your sister live with?
My mom.
According to what I read, there came a time when you moved in with the defendant because you were a very good friend of her daughter's.
We were best friends.
And you lived with her for a while, and then there was an incident where you had a falling out with her daughter. You left.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that you didn't get your furniture. You didn't take it with you when you left, and they disposed of your furniture. So you want the value of your furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you move in with Miss Kilmer and her daughter?
The end of August, beginning of September 2003.
And how long did you live with them?
About 4 to 5 months, maybe.
Is that right? How long did she live with you?
Until January. I don't remember if it was the beginning or the end.
It was the beginning.
So about 5 months. How were you supporting yourself?
I get Social Security.
How much do you get?
$756 a month.
Are you an emancipated minor?
No, my aunt just gave me my money because she was my legal guardian, and she's still filed at the Social Security office as my guardian.
Okay. Now, what kind of financial arrangement did you make with Miss Kilmer?
$200 a month for food, electricity, water, everything like that.
For everything?
Everything.
Did you pay her every month?
Yes, I did.
Did you pay her in check or cash?
Cash.
And what did you do with the rest of the money?
I bought clothes, food, things I needed.
What happened in January?
In January, me and Margie were hanging out at a friend's house. His mother's ring came up missing. It was in the bathroom. We had all stopped in the house to use the bathroom, and we'd left. And then we had come back later on, and we were hanging out, and his mom came up to us and said, "My ring's gone." We all checked our stuff just in case it accidentally dropped in. I personally know I didn't have anything to do with that ring. I didn't touch it. I didn't even see it. And Margie was upset, and she was accusing me of taking it, trying to find out what happened. Because Ryan, that's the friend we were at, he called and told her that detectives would be coming over to our house. And she was really upset. She was like freaking out, banging things. I asked her what was wrong, and it escalated from there into a verbal confrontation. She called me some names. I called her some names. She threw a bottle of hair conditioner at me. I had a notebook in my hand. I threw it back at her. She walked up to me and slapped me. In self-defense, I grabbed her by her hair and hit her. Then her mom stood up and started yelling to stop. Her father stepped in between us. She kept trying to go around him,
I stepped off to the side and away, and I said, I didn't steal anything, that's a lie. Maybe I added some stuff to that, but that's the gist of it. And they said, leave. I went downstairs, I got my stuff, I called my friend Veronica, and I said, just come get me, I'll explain to you later.
And
she
this
came and got
was
me.
when in January?
The beginning. I had just given the Kilmers the rent for the month of January a few days before.
And when did you come back for your, because you had some furniture that was stored in the basement?
Yes.
What kind of furniture?
2 nightstands, headboard, brand new mattresses, bed frame, and a dresser and a mirror.
Where had that come from?
My money, I had saved it up, my Social Security, so I could have some nice things.
But your furniture had to be stored because you had furniture in your room?
Yes.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Well, there's been a long-going friendship with Joey and Margie. She needed a place to stay. Her aunt had kicked her out. Her cousin had kicked her out. She wasn't able to live with her mother, so we took her in, treated her like family, made arrangements for her to pay rent. She, in December, had given us $100, saying she was going to be gone for part of the month, and she couldn't give us all of it. In January, she had given, I think she had given my husband some money. We were going through some problems. I had lost my job. I had asked him to leave. When he had come back to get some furniture for where he's staying.
So 1 second. We're talking about the rent. She moved in August. Of 2003. Who did you give the money to?
Either one.
Fine. So when you say you think she may have given your husband some money, it's possible that she gave him the rent.
Sure.
Because that takes care of your counterclaim. You're counterclaiming for rent. If she gave your husband rent, she doesn't owe you any rent, right?
Well, but he said he didn't get any money.
Yeah, how do I know that? How do I know that? If you're going through difficult financial times, how do I know that he didn't get the money and spend it?
Probably
and
did.
another thing, Miss Kilmer, if you didn't get any rent from her and that was your agreement, then why did you let her stay with you for 5 months?
She had nowhere else to go.
I don't know if I buy that, because if you were doing it out of the goodness of your heart, you wouldn't have charged her any rent.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, you're not the mother of the year. You don't leave your 14-year-old daughter to fend for herself, and I don't care what kind of disagreement you have with her. We understand each other?
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Joey Kibble says her former friend's mother, Mary Kilmer, gave away her furniture. Mary claims when Joey moved out, she abandoned the property.
Okay, I'm dismissing your counterclaim because I don't believe that she didn't pay the $200 either to you or your husband. So let's move on with, where's her furniture?
My ex-husband has it, and I haven't had any contact with him.
Well, how did he get it?
Came to the house to get some furniture. Shortly after she moved out, it was in February, he had come to the house to get some of his things after I had him removed from the house.
You had him removed from the house by the police?
Yes.
And when he came back to get his things, did he come back with the police?
No.
He came back by himself?
With some friends.
And how did it end up that he went into the basement and took her furniture?
He needed something to sleep on. I had no idea how long it was going to be there. It was stored there. We had tried to get in touch with her.
Ma'am?
That's not true.
Just a minute. Listen, you're not the mother of the year. You don't leave your 14-year-old daughter to fend for herself just because she's got $700 a month to take care of herself. And I don't care what kind of disagreement you have with her at age 14. We understand each other?
Yes.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, I had told Joey when she called to get her furniture and her belongings that Frank had her furniture, and I would
Just I'm talking about before you gave away her furniture to your ex-husband. I don't care whether he slept on the floor or whether he slept on nails. Why do I care what he slept on? You have no right to give away her furniture. That's outrageous. You have a bill for the furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please.
I also have receipts for my mattresses. That's the mattress. These are the receipts.
You have furniture. The furniture she gave away, she had absolutely no right to give away any of your furniture. So, $561.72 with tax. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're talking about mattresses, which were another $630. So that's what you owe her. You can't give away somebody else's property without notice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,191. I'm dismissing your counterclaim because I don't believe you when you say she didn't pay rent. I believe she paid rent. I also am going to award her the $200 for her January rent because I find that she did, in fact, pay you your January rent, whether she paid it to you But to your husband, that's $1,391. Since you threw her out in January, she couldn't live there. $1,391 for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We did what we could for 9 months of hell having her live with us.
I think this is all ridiculous and it could have been avoided.
The fighting with my daughter in the kitchen, the fist fights.
I was attacked and it was completely self-defense.
Certain things she said to me, the B word, the C word, the A word, you name it.
I think it's a big joke and I think she's a liar. We can sit here and call each other liars all day, but I know the truth and that's what matters.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shore versus Moore, step forward.
Truck driver Donna Shore is suing her daughter's boyfriend, truck driver Jason Moore, for the cost of a waterbed and a cell phone bill. Jason says he owes nothing.
Mrs. Shore, the defendant is your daughter's boyfriend, and I assume from everybody's position that this is your daughter. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume that if this is your daughter, you and your daughter are not on good speaking terms.
Not right now, no.
And this is your...
My husband, her stepfather.
Okay. Boyfriend, according to you, owes you for the balance on a waterbed that you sold to them.
Yes, ma'am.
And also for a cell phone bill that he promised to pay.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Moore says that the waterbed is between you and your daughter. He had nothing to do with that arrangement. And he's got a sort of interesting defense for the cell phone bill, which I will get to when we get to him. Okay? Good. The defendant and your daughter lived with you for a period of time, I
Yes,
gather.
ma'am.
Is that right? When did they live with you?
From the beginning of October 2003 till the beginning of December 2003.
Why?
At the time, Jason was having trouble, on his job. They were not giving him enough miles driving the truck so that he was making no money. My granddaughter was in St. Louis with her father.
Not their child together.
No.
Your daughter has a child with somebody else who was with her father.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Jordan could not come home because of the apartment that they were living in. I was told that she had no bed. I was never physically in the apartment. But DCFS went and checked out the apartment.
Department of Children and Family Services.
Yes. And we're told that Jordan could not come home as long as they lived there. So we let them move in with us so that we could get Jordan home. We were hoping that, they would turn their lives around, get everything straightened out.
How long had Jordan been living with her father?
She went down in July. She was supposed to come home between 2 weeks and a month after she went down there.
And did her father seek custody of her? Is that why there was an investigation by Department of Children and Family Services?
I'm not sure about that. I know there were other circumstances involved, which I don't know if I should mention or not.
Go ahead.
There were accusations made. They were eventually...
Unfounded.
Right, unfounded, yes.
Where is Jordan now?
She's with Jason and Tara, I assume.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What happened in October of 2003 with regard to the telephone?
My husband and I did not have a home phone. We're over-the-road truck drivers. We had cell phones. When Tara and Jason came and moved in with us, he was going to work with us. He was going to be on the road, needed to keep in contact with Tara. Tara needed to be able to, if Jordan got hurt, Jordan needed the doctor or something, to be able to get a hold of somebody.
Jordan came back to live with you at that point?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we went and got the phones. They said they didn't have the money.
So you put them on your account?
Yes, ma'am.
And they promised to pay the bill, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right, correct?
So kind of, yes. Yes, ma'am.
So you got them the phones?
Yes, ma'am. But the next day, he took it back and upgraded it because it wasn't fancy enough.
Is that right, sir?
Both phones were upgraded the next day, yes.
Why did you do that?
Because the phones they give you with the plane were very cheaply made, so it would not have been worth it. Why not pay the extra $30 and get a better phone with better warranty?
So you paid the $30?
I did, yes.
Okay, fine. So you didn't have money for phones, but you had money to upgrade the
Yes,
phones?
I did have money for phones.
Well, then why did you have her put the phones on her
I didn't
account?
want to get the phone in her name. I'd already borrowed the money from my boss, and she knew of that. She thought it'd be better for me to save my money and get, instead of me getting one phone for myself, to get a phone for her daughter, too. So they came
And you
to
said okay?
Yeah, they came to me with this plan,
Okay,
yes.
so you said okay, with the understanding that you would pay for the service.
I was going to pay half the service, yes.
And the daughter was going to pay half
Yes.
the service. Was she working at the time?
At the time, yes, when we got the phones.
Now, at some point, you stopped paying for the phone. Is that right?
When I got the second bill, yes.
Why?
Because by the time we got the first bill, she had done quit her job, and she knew we was financially tight. So I paid the first bill, and when I got the second bill, I told her I couldn't pay that. It's just too much. And she had agreed to
had the phone service canceled, and I'd pay the disconnect fee for each phone.
So did you pay the bill?
She would never show me a bill.
Well, now we'll show you the bill. Can I see the bill, please?
Yes, ma'am.
The bills never came to my name.
No, I'm going to show.
And she would hide them from
just
us.
A second. Oh no. Just a second. She's not hiding, sir.
Oh,
she
you
doesn't
don't
want to
even
hide
know.
them. Let me just see the bills. You say you didn't pay the bills because you didn't get the bills.
I had the bills. What the bill was due, it came on my cell phone. At the time the phone was off, the bill was $213.74.
Okay, well.
The bill was due in December, 12/11 of 03.
No, on December 19th, sir, it was $449.03.
Well, that's not what the phone says.
Well,
that came from
look,
Verizon.
Sir.
Okay. I'd never seen this. She'd never show us bills.
I want you to see it. No, give it back to him, please.
No, I've seen it. I believe you.
Give it back to him.
I'll look at it.
There you go. Enjoy.
And did you use these phones after January?
No, they were turned off.
Stand up. You are both testifying that in the month of January, you did not use these phones.
The phones were shut off at the beginning of January.
So that this last bill, can I see that, please? This last bill dated
Would probably be the remainder of December and January.
December 19th. Now, then you would have the bill from December 19th to January.
Yes, probably so.
Okay. Do you have the bill for January?
No, I do not have it.
Why not?
I don't know why I don't have that
Well,
one.
I can't help you with that because the last bill then that I would find that they're responsible for is the one dated December 19th for $449. Now, if he says that the phones were shut off the beginning of January, added on to that would be monthly access of $169 and additional services, et cetera, $679. Now let's talk about this waterbed. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The waterbed, we were moving to a new place, and I went out and bought new beds for the child because she came first. You know, she's a child.
Jordan.
Yes, she needed a new bed, so I bought new beds because I have children of my own, so I bought new beds for the kids. And then we were going to be without a bed.
What kids?
I have kids from a previous marriage that I get every other weekend.
Okay, so you bought beds for all the children?
All the children, yes, not favoring anybody. Everybody got beds. So we were going to be without a bed. So Tara came to me and said something about a waterbed. I said, I don't really want a waterbed. She goes, well, Mom said she'd sell us this waterbed. I was like, I really don't want it. She goes, well, I'll pay for it.
Tara.
Yes.
Tell me about the waterbed. You had the discussion with your mother.
I had actually asked my stepfather what he would charge me to buy the bed from him. He said $150. And yes, I had a job at the time, and I agreed to pay that, and then I lost my job. So we haven't been able to pay it back.
I had paid
Yes,
the first
he had
payment.
paid $50 on it.
Because they were asking about it. I was like, well, you know, she's not working, but, you know, out of the goodness of my heart, I figured I would, you know, at least make an effort to pay him back, which was not my liability.
Did you sleep on the bed?
Yeah, we slept on it.
You still have the bed?
We still have the bed. We don't use it, though.
Why not?
The first day we get it home and set it up, there's leaks all over it, so we had to fix it.
So what do you use to sleep on?
Right now we're sleeping on a hide-a couch.
And where is the waterbed?
We disassembled it, and it's just sitting there collecting dust.
So you're not using it?
No, ma'am.
Give it back to them, and they'll give you $50.
That would be fine. If that's what they wanted, they could have it.
Perfect. And he paid you $50 for it?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to take the $50 off the $679 that they owe you, leaving $629, and you can go pick up the waterbed. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $629.
This is case number 164 on the calendar in the matter of Carson versus Allen. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Mr. Carson, you and Miss Allen were involved in a relationship, and I assume that you lived together for a period of time. Is that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
How long did you live together? From when to when?
3 years from, I don't know, maybe 99 until 2002.
When in 2002?
Until, well, the 1st of January.
According to your complaint, Mr. Carson, Miss Allen forged your name on some checks.
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition, you claim that she somehow got the number of a credit card of yours and charged some items for her personal use on that credit card. Miss Allen says that she did, in fact, sign your name and forge one check, but she paid you back for that, and that she never used your credit card in an unauthorized manner. Correct?
Yes.
That yes sounds very weak. You want to give me a stronger yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is this person?
This is my girlfriend now. She has some acquaintances that Jessica used to work with.
And?
Well, there's been talk that, you know, admitting to it and that type of thing.
That this young woman heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Herself?
Heard from the people that Jessica worked with.
That's hearsay. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So bringing your girlfriend here is nothing more than just an irritant, which is not a good idea. And who is this person?
This is my mother.
And what does she know about this case?
Well, she was there throughout our whole relationship.
I'm not interested in your whole relationship.
Okay. She helped me out a lot. I was abused, and I went by Jeremiah.
That's your problem.
Okay.
And your mother's problem if she permitted it to happen. So she has nothing to contribute to this case either. I'm just trying to see how many witnesses I have to deal with today.
Okay.
So far I have 2 useless people and 2 people I have to hear. All right. When do you allege she forged your name to these checks? And I'd like to see copies of the checks, Mr. Carson.
It started on October 16th.
Of 01?
No, of 02.
October 16th of 02? I thought you broke
Well,
up.
I mean, in the 1st of January of 03. That was my mistake. I'm sorry.
Just a second. Did you break up in January of
03.
03?
I'm sorry.
Got to get your dates right, Mr. Carson, otherwise you confuse me. I'm too old to be confused.
I'm sorry.
When was the first check that allegedly she forged?
It was on 10/16 of 02.
And when did you find that out?
I found it out in the middle of November when I got my bank statement.
And what did you say to her?
I had the bank fax over all the checks, and I confronted her about it, and she said she was sorry, and she agreed to pay me back.
Okay, that was in November.
Yes, ma'am.
And did she cry?
Yes, ma'am.
And after she cried, did you give her a hug and say okay?
Yes.
And after you gave her a hug and said okay, did you go to bed together?
Well, we lived together, yes.
Did you go
Yes.
to bed together?
Yes.
And what about in December?
Never received any more payment, or?
Did you go to bed together?
Yes.
Did she pay you any money back?
No.
So this person that you had caught forging your name to checks, you continued to live with in an intimate relationship.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'll see the checks, Mr. Carson. Who's Mary?
That
It's
would
our
be our
landlord.
So that's a rent check.
Yes, ma'am.
Cash, $55. Cash, $40. What do you need all this cash for?
Ma'am, any time that I wrote any of those checks, I had permission.
Yeah, that was back in October.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know whether you had permission or not, but you were certainly living together.
Yes, we were.
Went to Eckert's Drugs for $10, another one for Walmart for $45.30. These are all from October, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And those checks were not authorized to be used?
Well, Mr.
Here?
Carson, let me ask you this question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Let us say that instead of breaking up with Miss Allen, you and Miss Allen got married in February of 2003. Would we be standing here today?
No, ma'am.
So why are you bothering me now?
Because I never authorized the use of those checks.
You found out about it in November, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
If someone had committed a crime and forged my name to checks, and you wanted to pursue that, you go to the police. Forging checks is a federal offense.
Yes, ma'am. I tried
You
that.
have them arrested. When did you try to do that, sir? In November?
No, ma'am.
Because in November you were sleeping together. And in December you were sleeping together.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
Got my drift, Mr. Carson?
Yes.
Good. Let's move on to credit card, because I'm not interested in the checks. When do you allege the credit card was used? Card? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And that was after you broke up?
Yes.
All right. So you know you can't do that, Jessica?
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Them two were cheating on together when I was with him. I was living in that house. He decided to come home one day and tell me that he didn't love me anymore, that he was with somebody else.
And later today,
Robbie smokes some pot. He puffs carefully from a green and orange tinted bowl.
Absolutely not. It's very true.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jeremiah Carson claims ex-girlfriend Jessica Allen stole his checkbook and ran up his credit card out of spite.
Did you take yourself out to dinner?
No.
Could you show her this, please?
Okay, which one am I supposedly... That's my signature right there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That I did not... That's not me. That one is me, yes, but that one is not.
What was the first one for, Jessica?
The first one?
Yeah.
It says Villa Italian. That was delivered to our house, where I was still living with Jeremiah.
What date is that?
Let's see. That's 122. I was still living at our residence in North Carolina at that time.
Judge Judy, I moved in with him January 10th.
That's not true, because them two were cheating on together when I was with him. Well, that's the only thing. I was living in that house. He decided to come home one day and tell me that he didn't love me anymore, that he was with somebody else. So I lived there until I could get on my feet to move back into my mother's house.
And what date was that?
The date that I moved out was probably right before my birthday, which is February 10th. It was probably around February 1st or 2nd when I moved out.
Jessica.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't believe that's true, dear.
Okay.
Ma'am.
What?
If you go farther into the receipts, there's receipts into the end of January where she was residing in Kernersville and ordered pizza, Girls Gone Wild.
Okay, Mr. Carson, this I'm not interested in. Your checks. If you have had it with somebody because they've committed a crime against you, you don't share conjugally a bed with them.
Ma'am, I've got 2 checks here written from my father, and they are both signed, and they have been deposited into Jeremiah's account.
For what?
Stating that I have paid him back $600.
For what?
For what? This was the alleged credit cards that he said that I used, and also the checks and stuff. This is just...
No, Jessica.
Yes, ma'am.
That's not what you say in your answer. Don't be slippery with me, because how old are you? How old?
I'm 20.
You're 20.
Yes.
I know you think that you're probably really smart, but Officer Bird here will tell you that you're really not.
Okay.
I read your answer very carefully. Your answer denied any complicity in using his credit card. Your answer, however, did say that you forged 1 check of his, but it was for rent. And you did, in fact, pay him back for the rent. But if you listen carefully, I said you didn't even have to pay him back for the rent. You were living together. Now, it would be different if she signed your name and forged your name to checks in December, and you had no knowledge of it until after she moved out. That's a different story. But when you found out that she had signed these checks, and she cried, and you gave her a hug and a kiss, you said, sweetheart, let's go to bed, let's just forget about it. Give it back to him. So don't be slippery with me. Those checks had absolutely nothing to do with the use of his credit card. You used his credit card number because you were irritated with him. Irritated that he cheated on you with a girlfriend, and so you figured this in some small way got even. Read off the amounts, Mr. Carson, and read them slowly, sir.
Time Life for $35.98.
Go ahead.
Domino's Pizza for $13. China Express. Shh. Oh, sorry.
Slowly.
Sorry. China Express, $12.01. Villa Italian.
Just a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't stand to do this. Bird, do me a favor. We all have our strong suits. That is not mine.
Okay. Time Life, $35.98. Domino's Pizza, $13. China Express, $12.01. Villa Italian, $13. Send Your Love Florist, $62.54. Villa Italian, $11. Domino's Pizza, $11.69. Girls Gone Wild, $24.97.
That's it?
That's it.
$184.19.
That's it, Mr. Carson. $184.19. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Have a happy life.
Thank you very much.
Excused. You may step out.
I'm so glad that I never have to deal with him again.
I should have known. You know, mistakes.
I will go back to Maryland, and I will be happy.
It's a good thing she's in Maryland because her name back home is pretty shot.
As you can see, he was cheating on me for 4 years.
I've been with him for a long time now, and she wonders why, you know, he left her for me. I mean, it's kind of obvious.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Parsons versus Arthur. Step forward, please.
24-year-old musician Robert Parsons is suing 22-year-old student Andrew Arthur for libel and defamation of character. Robert says Andrew wrote a newspaper article claiming he was a marijuana smoker.
Mr. Parsons, according to what I read, sir, the defendant approached you about writing an article about you for a class that he was taking. Is this a college class?
This is, yes.
You are a street musician?
Part of my job, yes.
Well, I assume that that's the part he was interested in.
Yes.
And you agreed to allow him to write the article. Then, according to you, the article was published in a school magazine or a school newspaper. And Within that article was a statement by the defendant that you used marijuana on a regular basis.
Yes.
You say that that's caused you all kinds of problems. You're involved in a custody dispute about your children with your former wife or girlfriend, and you say that this has created all kinds of problems for you. And aside from that, it's not true, because you went and took a drug test, and I assume you have the results of the drug test for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 24-year-old musician Robert Parsons is suing 22-year-old student Andrew Arthur for libel and defamation of character. Robert says Andrew wrote a newspaper article claiming he was a marijuana smoker.
Okay. Had you met the defendant prior to his approaching you about writing this article?
No, that was the first time I met him. I was playing on the street in Morgantown, West Virginia, and he approached me and said that he would like to write an article about me if it was okay with me. I told him that was fine. All I wanted was a copy of the article when he was done with it, and he agreed to that. And then I spent the next 4 or 5 months trying to get a copy of it.
Okay. Aside from seeing you play on the street, did he go anywhere else with you?
He came to my home.
How many times?
I would say 5.
Who else lives with you?
Robin?
This is Robin.
Yes.
Anybody else?
No.
You have a former wife?
Former girlfriend.
How many children do you have with this girlfriend?
3.
How old are they?
5, 4, and 2.
Didn't feel like making a commitment to marriage?
No.
You don't believe in marriage?
No, it's not that I don't believe in it. It just wasn't the right person.
I understand that, but I don't understand 5, 4, and 2.
I was just young and made mistakes.
But just my own information, because I always find this sort of interesting. You're not prepared to make the commitment because he wasn't the right person for you, but was the right person to have 3 children with.
Well, I'd asked her to marry me on a couple of occasions, and she denied it.
She said no?
Yes. But she's married now. She got married a month after we broke up.
You have a copy of the article?
I have a copy of the article as it appeared in the newspaper.
That's what I'd like to see.
Sure.
Now, when did Mr. Arthur tell you that it was going to be published?
He never did tell me.
Okay. So your complaint is about this one paragraph.
Mostly, yes.
Robbie smokes some pot. He puffs carefully from a green and orange tinted bowl. This is his usual routine before I sit.
Yes.
And what you're saying to me is that's not true.
Absolutely not.
Mr. Arthur?
It's very true. Mr. Parsons has made statements on the record, and I've recorded them as part of an immersion story in journalism. I spent a lot of time with Mr. Parsons.
I'm asking you about the pot smoking, sir. Don't give me a whole tirade.
Okay.
You say that you actually observed him smoking marijuana?
Yes.
On how many occasions?
I observed it once.
How do you know it's his usual routine?
He mentioned it.
What did he say?
He said this is what he does before a city. He has some pot, strums on a guitar, warms up a little bit.
Okay. Mr. Parsons, what kind of custody dispute are you involved with your former girlfriend?
Basically, I'm supposed to see the kids every weekend. When she saw this article, she wrote me a letter and told me I couldn't see him until I got this matter cleared up. So I went and I took my drug test 2 days after the article came out. I have a copy of that here if you'd like to see it.
I'd like to take a look at it.
And I also have the letter she sent me. And it took me 3 weeks before I could get a hold of her before I could show her that I have the drug results because she wasn't answering her phone.
You took a urine test?
Yes.
Okay. The issue is a very simple one. You agreed to have him write an article about you.
Mm-hmm.
He says he reported what he saw and heard, and you say it's not true.
Absolutely.
So there's a very simple way of establishing that, and that is with the hair follicle test.
Mm-hmm.
Have you taken a hair follicle test?
No.
As you probably know, marijuana will stay within your bloodstream for between 24 and 48 hours on a urine test. Was that explained to you?
No.
Otherwise, it just dissipates out of the body. That's why in courts we don't usually use these drug tests unless we suspect someone is high at the moment that they're before us. What they came up with about 8 years ago is a hair follicle test, because when you smoke marijuana, it stays in the hair follicles. It stays in the hair for about 6 or 8 months. And not only does it stay in the hair, but the laboratory can tell how long ago it was used, depending upon where they find the traces of the drug. Now, do you understand?
Yes.
So, are you prepared to take that test?
Sure.
He is suing you for $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, in my judgment, if a hair follicle test establishes that he did not use marijuana, certainly your article would be a lie. Do you understand?
I understand that.
And he would be entitled to a judgment, in my opinion,
agree.
for the $5,000. And you would agree with that?
I would.
And you are prepared to stick by your statement that you not only observed him smoking marijuana, but he told you that he did it as a regular routine?
Yes.
Okay. Do you smoke marijuana? Is not an answer,
no.
Mr. Rothman.
I have, yes.
So you were not appalled by his statement?
I was not.
You were not
aback by it.
appalled by what you saw, that he was
No.
smoking some marijuana.
No.
So it wasn't nutsy to you that somebody was doing that,
No,
right?
not
Because
that
you
big of a
did
deal.
it yourself, right?
I've done it, yes.
Okay. Got it, Mr. Parsons?
Absolutely.
So I will have my clerk arranged for the test. I expect both of you back here after the test results are forwarded to the court. Clear?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much. Case is adjourned.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
About a half hour. Go have lunch, and we'll give you a call. I had my 80-year-old mother with me, my son and so forth, so we went to eat. I don't hear from him. So about 10 to 5, I call him up and said, what's the status of my car? So he says, oh, they're test driving the car right now. Come pick up the car. It's ready. Terrific. I go down there. I ask him for the invoice. He tells me that the computers are down. If I want a bill, that if I want him to give me some kind of invoice, then he's going to charge me. I said, charge me for what? So I'm being stubborn. I'm saying, listen, if you fix the car, just give me the invoice. And he gives me the keys to the truck and says, you get out of here, your car's, I'm done with you, and so forth. So then I go to the truck, and I know that my car had been driven 63 miles.
Where was the car driven to that day?
Around the whole city on the loop. We have a beltway there. She tells me I'm going back to California, make sure my vehicle does not have to come back. And then she's going to tell me, you drove my vehicle 63 miles? Yeah, you're driving 450. You want it to work?
Who drove the car?
One of our technicians. We road test every single vehicle. It's not abnormal.
60 miles worth?
Some of them 100, yes.
Really? Does that sound right to you, Bert?
I've never had it happen to me.
I've never had it happen to me either. How old are you?
I'm 25.
How old are you, Bert?
45.
I'm older. Between us, we have almost 100 years. It's never happened to us that we took a car in to be repaired.
How many times have you been in the shop?
Our cars? I have had more cars than you have years, sir. And I have never had all different kinds, all different flavors. And I have never had somebody road test a car that they repaired for 63 miles. Never happened!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
While he's restraining me, grabbing me both arms, I try to grab his private part, so he'll let go of me. So then he grabs my hand.
That's a good spot.
Thank you. Thank you. It was difficult trying to find them, though. That was the problem. And I have
You're cute.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lisa Malone says she was ripped off and assaulted by auto shop manager Scotty Whitaker. Scotty says Lisa is being dramatic.
Okay, so now you're outside. He's not going to give you. He said, take your car and leave. And there's a certain frustration.
Yes.
I get your frustration. I'm surprised it took.
हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पे मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें। आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए, इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। तो इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज की 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। अब देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें, आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी डाल के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। अब देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पर मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। वो बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है? अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें, आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें नमक। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज की 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी है। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। अब देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें, आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज की 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारा एक मोमोज बन के रेडी है। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। अब देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें, आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज की 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारा एक मोमोज बन के रेडी है। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। अब देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। वो बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें। आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अपन समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड करूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। आप देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी हैं। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बनकर रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें। आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें नमक। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट हैं वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। आप देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी हैं। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पे मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें। आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें नमक। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस, तो इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट हैं वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। तो हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। आप देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पर मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पर मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। वो बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पे मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें, आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट हैं वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। आप देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पे मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक में फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पर मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है। देखिए तो हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। ये भी बहुत ही टेस्टी लगते हैं। मुझे फ्राइड और स्टीम दोनों मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। आपको कौन से मोमोज अच्छे लगते हैं आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं। मुझे मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं। किस किस को मोमोज पसंद है, अगर मोमोज पसंद है तो इस रेसिपी को एक बार ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी बन के रेडी होता है। हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय चैनल। आज हम बनाएंगे चिकन मोमोज। तो यहाँ पे हम स्टीम मोमोज और फ्राई मोमोज दोनों बनाए हैं। पर मैंने आधा किलो मैदे में 1 चम्मच नमक ऐड किया है। आप अपने अकॉर्डिंग ऐड करें। 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं नमक डाला है इसमें। आप अपने हिसाब से ऐड करें इसमें ना। तो मैं नमक और आटे को दोनों को अच्छी तरह से मिक्स कर लूँगी। हम इसमें थोड़ा सा पानी ऐड करते हुए इसका एक डो बना लूँगी अच्छा सा। आटा हमारा पतला नहीं होना चाहिए, जो है वो टाइट ही रहना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं यहाँ पानी थोड़ा थोड़ा करके ऐड कर रही हूँ। यहाँ पे हमारा जो डो है वो रेडी है, तो इसको हम तेल से ग्रीस करके साइड में रख देंगे। अब हम समोसे की स्टफिंग बनाएंगे। यहाँ पे मेरे पास है 5 से 6 चिकन ब्रेस्ट बोनलेस। तो इसमें मैं ऐड कर रही हूँ 2 चम्मच धनिया पाउडर, 2 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं लाल मिर्च पाउडर ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पे मैं ब्लैक पेपर पाउडर ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं नमक ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ पर मैं चाट मसाला ऐड करूँगी, आधा चम्मच मैं यहाँ पे हल्दी ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच यहाँ मैं चिकन मसाला ऐड कर रही हूँ, 1 चम्मच जिंजर गार्लिक पेस्ट ऐड करूँगी, 1 चम्मच लेमन जूस ऐड करूँगी। अब इन सभी चीज़ों को हम अच्छी तरह से चिकन में लगा लेंगे। इसको 15 से 20 मिनट के लिए रेस्ट के लिए रख देंगे। यहाँ पे मैं एक नॉन स्टिक पैन में तेल गरम करने के लिए रख दी थी। अब इसमें हम चिकन के ब्रेस्ट को ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छी तरह से आगे पीछे करके फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो चिकन के ब्रेस्ट हैं वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। अब मैं इसको पलटा के फिर से फ्राई करूँगी और हमारा जो चिकन है वो अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुका है। अब हम इसको निकाल लेंगे। देखिए हमारा चिकन रेडी है फ्राई करके। मैंने चिकन के इस तरह से रेशे रेशे कर लिए। अब यहाँ पे हम स्टीमर रेडी करेंगे। सबसे पहले नीचे वाले स्टीमर में हम पानी गर्म के लिए रखेंगे और ऊपर वाले में हम ऑयल से ग्रीस करके इसको ढक के 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए रख देंगे। तो यहाँ पे हम एक बड़ी सी रोटी बेलेंगे आटे की। यहाँ पे हमारी रोटी बन गई है। अब हम इसको एक ग्लास की शेप से छोटा छोटा इसको कट कर लेंगे। देखिए एक ही बार में हमारी मोमोज 5 पूरी बन के रेडी है। अब हम इसमें चिकन की स्टफिंग करेंगे। जब हम रोटी लेके उसमें चिकन को भर के उसको फोल्ड कर देंगे साइड से पानी लगा के। लीजिए हमारे मोमोज बन के रेडी। इसी तरह से हम सारे बना लेंगे। यहाँ पे हमारा स्टीमर रेडी हो चुका है। अब हम इसमें थोड़ा सा ऑयल लगा के इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम होने के लिए। यहाँ पे हमने ऑयल से ग्रीस कर लिया है। अब हम इसमें मोमोज रख देंगे स्टीम के लिए। अब इसको हम 5 से 10 मिनट के लिए मीडियम आंच पे स्टीम होने देंगे। देखिए हमारे जो मोमोज हैं वो स्टीम हो चुके हैं। अब हम इसको एक एक करके निकाल लेंगे। आप देख सकते हैं हमारे जो स्टीम मोमोज हैं वो बन के रेडी है। अब हम ये स्टीम मोमोज को फ्राई करेंगे। तो यहाँ पर मैंने ऑयल रखा है गर्म होने के लिए। इसमें हम एक एक करके मोमोज ऐड करेंगे और इसको अच्छा गोल्डन ब्राउन होने तक हम फ्राई करेंगे। हमारे जो मोमोज है वो एक साइड से अच्छी तरह से फ्राई हो चुके हैं। तो अब हम इसको पलटा के दूसरी साइड भी अच्छी तरह से फ्राई कर लेंगे। देखिए हमारे फ्राइड मोमोज रेडी है। तो देखिए हमारे स्टीम मोमोज कितने अच्छे बन के रेडी हुए हैं। यहाँ पर मैंने मोमोज की चटनी के साथ इसको सर्व किया है। अगर आपको मोमोज की चटनी का रेसिपी चाहिए तो आप मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताएं, मैं इसको शेयर कर दूँगी। ये इस चटनी के साथ ये मोमोज बहुत अच्छे लगते थे। तो आप इसको एक बार से ज़रूर ट्राई करें। बहुत ही टेस्टी और डिलीशियस बन के रेडी होती है।